Chapter 6:13. Do you think your collection is correct? Shen Yan asked back. Reporting to the president, this is the answer I got after asking everyone. A serious report reported. Shen Yan did not answer his question. Whether it was true or not, they would be able to find out during the drill. Remember, in this drill, I forgot your previous numbers. I will rename your numbers. Number 1 Xingu, Number 2 Zhang Zhenyu, Number 3 Wu Di, Number 4 Shen Yan, Number 5 Hang Tian, Number 6 Lu Shuang, Number 7 Qing Mingho, Number 8 Zhu Jiang, Number 9 Wang Bo, and Number 10 Han Qingyue. Do you understand? Shen Yan said sternly. Understood. Lu Shuang also shouted along with them. She felt very proud, as if she was really one of the soldiers. She could boast about this for the rest of her life. She still had to tell De Bao about it in the future. She could not help but smile, and her eyes were sparkling. Shen Yan looked at her out of the corner of her eye and sighed helplessly. She did not know what she was thinking about. Is there anyone who volunteered to be the commander this time? Under her influence, Shen Yan's tone softened a little. Except for Lu Shuang, everyone else looked at Shen Yan. They could not tell what Shen Yan was thinking. Number 7 Cheng Mingho, sign up. When everyone saw Cheng Mingho sign up, they signed up one after another, except for Lu Shuang. Anyway, she did not say anything. Since Shen Yan asked her to follow him closely, she would definitely not let anyone separate them. Shen Yan was probably just asking casually. No one would really dare to order Shen Yan around. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang coldly. What about you? Lu Shuang paused and looked at Shen Yan's firm and sharp eyes. If she did not sign up, would it hurt the morale of Shen Yan's team? She had promised not to drag them down. She cheered up and said in a loud voice, Number 6, Lu Shuang, sign up. Anyway, Shen Yan would not let her be the commander, unless she wanted to die quickly. Ha ha ha. All right, it's up to you then. During the battle, we will all listen to the commander's orders, including me, Shen Yan said with certainty. Lu Shuang fixed his eyes on Shen Yan. She thought she was hearing things. Was there something wrong with Shen Yan? He must have forgotten to take his medicine today to make her the commander. Victory! Someone shouted. Victory! 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 The soldiers were full of confidence. After all, they were following the president. They would definitely do their best. Otherwise, they would embarrass the president. The pressure on them was much greater than the others. Of course, their morale was also much higher. Lu Shuang saw how passionate the soldiers were. If he said that he didn't want to be a soldier, would he be despised to death? She looked at Shen Yan and frowned. That fellow, Shen Yan, didn't even look at her. In the morning, she thought that she might have fallen for him. How could she fall for such a person? She wasn't a masochist. She was so angry. Lu Shuang raised his hands and signaled for everyone to quiet down. What strategy do you guys have? What are your thoughts? Sir, I think we should adopt a quick attack. After all, out of the 27 teams, only 5 will be able to get rid of the 5 flags. The slower we are, the more disadvantaged we will be. Ending the battle as soon as possible is the correct method, Cheng Mingho, the number 7, said. I don't agree with this method. Everyone wants to end the battle quickly, but the more rushed we are, the more loopholes there will be and the easier it will be for the entire team to be wiped out. We should be cautious. Although only 5 teams can gather, we must ensure that there are no casualties first. Only then will we have a chance to complete the mission, number 1, Shen Gu said. If we are slow, we can ensure that there will be no casualties. Taking the initiative to attack is the best defense, number 7, Cheng Mingho, retorted. I think that only reckless people will choose to end the battle quickly. Advancing steadily is the only way to be at ease, number 1 said. You're too steady. The flags are gone. I'm not being reckless. I'm being proactive and raising morale. If you insist that I'm being reckless, then what you're doing is cowardice. Cowardice isn't invisible. That dangerous mission can't be completed invisibly. You mean that it won't be dangerous to protect the president? Don't forget, the guards are all chosen from the elite soldiers. Lu Shuang saw that the battle between number 1 and number 7 was about to reach its climax. She could also see that the invisible people and the guards were obviously divided into two camps, and the others were gradually joining in. She felt that she was really unlucky. Not only did her team have her as a burden, but there was also the problem of internal division. If they could win, it must be because the heavens were taking a nap. She looked at Shen Yen. Shen Yen maintained her poise and composure. She was calm and composed. Slowly, her gaze landed on her face. She didn't look like she was going to say anything. Lu Shuang said helplessly, "I say, all of you, quiet down first." Her voice was so low that they didn't hear her. They were still arguing. "Hey, all of you, quiet down." She raised her decibel. Still, no one listened to her. "Hey!" She used the highest decibel she could, but no one listened to her and stopped. Her throat was hurting. She stood up and slammed her chair on the table with a loud bang. The meeting room instantly quietened down. The corner of Shen Yan's mouth curled up, revealing a smile. "I say, all of you are arguing until your ears are red. Have you solved the problem? I feel like you're watching a grandparent and grandchild riding a donkey. Everyone says they're right, and everyone says they're right, but no one says the essence." Number 7. The feeling you give me is that you're aggressive, but there's no strategy or method. Number 1. The feeling you give me is that you're too focused on stability and not heroic. We don't want to be ambitious and ordinary people. Where's the strategy? Where's the plan? Where's the specific way to solve the problem? Lu Shuang lectured both of them and didn't take sides. Because she was Shen Yan's person, although they didn't know her specific ability, everyone gave her face and didn't refute her. "We'll listen to the commander," Number 1 said. Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yan. "Here, you're the commander." "I've said it before, I'll listen to the commander too," Shen Yan said. Lu Shuang knew that Shen Yan wouldn't help her. He was the one who chose her. It had nothing to do with her if they lost, but if they lost and embarrassed themselves, he shouldn't blame her. "My idea is, since old Zhou..." Lu Shuang paused and felt that he shouldn't call him old Zhou like Shen Yan, so he changed the way he addressed him and said, "Commander Zhou said that we'll only win if the flag is handed to him. We'll observe the terrain and find the only way to get there. We'll leave a sniper, an intelligence liaison, a combat expert, and an extreme athlete." Chapter 6:14. Lu Shuang saw that they did not speak, and all 9 pairs of eyes were looking at her. She thought that she did not make herself clear, so she explained, "This is what I'm thinking. Since those people have the flag, they will definitely hand it over to Commander Zhou. We will set up an ambush on the path that they must pass. Firstly, we can snatch the flag, and secondly, we can delay the first team and shorten the distance. However, I guess the other teams have also thought of this idea. So, after we get the map, the first thing we need to do is to occupy an advantageous position. I've also thought about it. If we split up the team, it will weaken the strength of the team, but at the same time, we can preserve our strength. At the beginning, we don't rush to snatch it. Instead, we urge them to snatch it, and then we can pick up the leftovers. On one hand, we can preserve our strength, and on the other hand, we can exhaust the enemy's strength. I've also thought about it. We will be divided into 4 groups. The first group, Chang Mingho Zhu Jiang, the 2 of you are stronger in terms of overall strength, and your computer logic ability is also stronger. You will rush to the path that they must pass, or the few intersections that they must pass through, and set up traps to expel the people who go. Break them down one by one, and make sure that we are the only ones in this place. My policy is to not make a move if we can, and let them fight among themselves. The second group, Wang Bo and Han Qingyue, you are responsible for gathering information about the enemy, and do a good job of communication in the team. Every team has a walkie-talkie, Shen Yan reminded them. Oh, then Wang Bo and Han Qingyue's task will be even more difficult. You have to pay attention to the enemy's situation in all directions and make a detailed understanding of their situation. Then, you have to come up with a reasonable plan to annihilate them and not let them pass. If you guys get the 5 flags, if you get the flag, you can hand it over to Commander Zhou immediately, Lu Shuang said. At this point, the soldiers exchanged looks with each other. Especially the bodyguards. They knew that a woman had appeared beside the president for no reason. She looked very ordinary, and other than the time when she fearlessly saved the foreign envoy, she did not seem to have any special abilities. However, in just a few minutes they were convinced, and they also saw the commanding ability of this paratrooper. Seeing that they did not speak, Nor did they express any objections. Lu Shuang seemed to have agreed. He continued, "As for the others, this is my arrangement. First, choose a place and set up some traps. Make sure that the area within a kilometer is our territory. Xingu, you are good at fighting. Zhang Zhenyu, you are good at setting up trickery. Wu Di, you're good at gathering information. The three of you will form a team. Wu Di, you'll gather information on the enemy. Xingu, you'll lure them in, and Zhang Zhenyu, you'll shoot. Lastly, Hang Tian, Shen." She almost called her by her full name. "President Shen, the three of us are from the mobility unit. We'll make up for the backup when the time comes. Other than that, before we set off, we need to design sign language and symbols that only our team can understand. For example, where is our team's territory? Where do you think the mechanism is located?" Shen Yen was the first to applaud. He knew that Lu Shuang was a little smart, but she was too lazy to use her brain. She acted impulsively without thinking, but he didn't expect her to have ideas and strategies. Who said that she wasn't suitable to be his wife? He felt that no one was more suitable than her. Seeing that Shan Yen was applauding, the others also applauded. Lu Shuang looked at Shan Yen gratefully. She felt guilty. She hadn't arranged anything for herself. She had even thought of what task to assign to that guy with no merits or flaws. Luckily, she had Shen Yen to back her up. Heh. The horn sounded. A sharp glint flashed past Shen Yen's eyes. She said in a low voice, "It's starting. Remember, when you carry the flag, don't reveal anything." She was looking at Lu Shuang when she said that. Lu Shuang probably wanted her to carry the flag. The group of people went out and lined up on the field. There were 27 messy backpacks on the table. Lu Shuang randomly picked one. She didn't even look at it and just carried it on her back. The platoon leader and company leader came out and led them to their respective vehicles. Lu Shuang lowered his voice and asked Shen Yen, "Does everyone enter at a different address?" Shen Yen nodded. "I think everyone gets a different map. The map should be in your backpack. When we get into the car, take it out and study it. Since we're divided into 4 teams, it's best to make 4 copies." "Okay." Lu Shuang didn't know anything. How could she say that she didn't even know how to read a map? After a while, the 10 of them got into the small truck. Lu Shuang opened her backpack. There was a flag, 12 pieces of chocolate, 12 pieces of bread, 10 bottles of mineral water, a map, and a pen. A book. She took out the map and looked at it. As expected, she couldn't understand it. So, she took out the book and pen for them to copy and study. She distributed the bread, mineral water, and chocolate to the soldiers. Each of them got 1 piece. But she realized that there were 2 extra pieces of chocolate and 2 pieces of bread. "Why not 1 piece each?" Lu Shuang asked Shen Yen. "Think about it yourself," Shen Yen replied. Lu Shuang blinked. Didn't they say that they would teach her well during the drill? What the hell did they teach her? She thought that if she took it for herself, people would definitely talk about it. Could it be that the extra 2 pieces were for the president's benefit? "Is this specially for you?" Lu Shuang asked Shen Yen softly. "No," Shen Yen replied. Lu Shuang saw that they were discussing in full swing again. She thought for a while and said, "Well." When she spoke this time, everyone looked at her, waiting to hear her opinion. She wanted to say that she would share the 2 pieces of chocolate and 2 pieces of bread equally with them. But looking at everyone's expectant eyes, she felt that it would be a little low if she said that. "I still have 2 pieces of chocolate and 2 pieces of bread left. I think they will be very helpful to the person who designed the trap. I will share them with Shen Gu's team and Cheng Mingho's team. You guys should make good use of them." As soon as she finished speaking, she felt that her words suddenly made her seem superior. She separated the unevenly distributed food. She even solved the problem of how to use them. Shan Yen's lips curled up as he looked at her with a smile. She looked at Shan Yen and smiled. She should be right. She gave the pieces of chocolate and bread to them. "Commander, take a look. This map is very strange," Cheng Mingho said and handed the map to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang. She couldn't understand such a map. Shan Yen took the map and explained to Lu Shuang. "This map shows that we have 3 paths to Commander Zhou's side. It also shows the minefields. If we walk well, we can avoid those landmines." Shani Yan pointed out the map to Lu Shuang so that she could roughly understand the contents of the map. Chapter 6:15. Lu Shuang took a look at the map and then at Cheng Mingho's worried face. That's normal. If you don't give them a path, the drill will be more intense and interesting. Remember, don't bite off more than you can chew. You just have to guard one intersection. It depends on their luck and yours. If you clear a path, it will at least give the people behind us a strong backing. Don't forget, there are 4 of you and 6 people behind you. Moreover, it's a competition of strength. If you win too easily, there will be no sense of honor, right? Also, look, the 3 roads on this map have clearly marked the minefields. I think that since it's random, there shouldn't be any bias. In other words, their map has also clearly marked the minefields. Can't we reduce the scope of the traps and catch the fish in the net? Lu said. Lu Shuang said. Once she said that, the others felt that it made sense and were instantly filled with confidence. Could she say that she was just talking nonsense? She didn't even understand the map. She was just putting on an act. Then where are we going to set the traps? Shingu asked. Damn, she really had to rub it in. How would she know? Forget it, it was a drill anyway. If they lost, it would be Shani Yan's fault. She casually pointed at the middle section. Shengu immediately drew a circle at the place she was pointing at. Lu Shuang. Let me remind you, we are looking at the middle section. But for the others it might not be. They might be closer to here. So be careful, Lu Shuang said. Got it, the soldiers said in unison. Lu Shuang saw that Cheng Mingho was also looking at her, asking for instructions. She pointed at the furthest road. You guys are here? Why? Cheng Mingho was puzzled. Not far from this road is the minefield. There won't be many people coming here. She actually thought so too. Because there were not many people going, the chances of the 4 of them failing were low. But she couldn't say her real thoughts. Not necessarily. I think a lot of people think the same way as you. They will go the opposite way, thinking that there is a road without mines in the minefield. Moreover, generally speaking, the road in the middle is the one with the most people, Lu Shuang said with a smile. As for the others, except for Sheni Yan, it made sense. Sheni Yan didn't say anything either. This was not his real goal. All right. Let's do that. Cheng Mingho agreed with Lu Shuang. By the way, there's one more thing. Will the traps really kill those people? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. As soon as she spoke, the soldiers fell silent and looked at her strangely. It's my first time participating in such a drill, Lu Shuang said with an awkward smile. We have a hat on our heads, and the hat is electronically sensitive. If we are hit by the infrared sensor on the hat will start to smoke. As long as there is smoke, it is equivalent to death, and we will leave the drill in advance, Shingu explained. Ah, if there is smoke, we will leave? Lu Shuang's eyes were sparkling. If she didn't want to continue, she could just make her hat start to smoke. Easy. How about close combat? Lu Shuang continued to ask. Don't you have this? Shengu took out a pen-like thing from his waist bag and opened it. It was an infrared dagger. This can only be used in close combat. Oh yes, I do. It's in my bag. I didn't know it was used for this. Lu Shuang wanted to open his bag, but he remembered that there was a gun in his waist bag. It would be terrible if he was discovered. So he changed the topic and pulled out the real dagger from his leg. What about this real one? This is used when we encounter beasts or snakes. It is also used to make traps and defend against other dangers, Shingu explained in a good mood. What if, I assume, I accidentally make smoke come out of myself? Lu Shuang asked tentatively. Sheni Yan was speechless. This is an electronic one. Whoever kills whom will be displayed in the command center. Shengu looked at Lu Shuang strangely. What if the hat is broken? Lu Shuang scratched his head. It is only given out after a thorough inspection. If something really happens to it, it will be replaced with a new one, Shingu continued. What did the commander do in the past? Cheng Mingho asked suspiciously. Doctor. A doctor from the military. Lu Shuang explained. He purposely worked in the military so that his appearance here wouldn't be too out of the ordinary. You haven't participated in a drill before? Hang Tian asked in surprise. I only participated in actual combat. I'm sorry, Lu Shuang said with a smile. Shen Yan pursed her lips and tried to suppress her laughter. Actual combat. What she said was true. She did participate in actual combat. She took care of colds, helped others give birth, and bandaged wounds. But when she said that, the soldiers instantly felt that she was superior. The commander has experienced many life and death situations, right? Hang Tian asked curiously. Give birth? She used to deliver babies every day. A lot. Almost a few every day. That was 5 years ago, Lu Shuang said with a smile. Shen Yan held back her laughter. Her shoulders were trembling. In order not to expose herself, she looked out of the window. Can you tell us about it? Wang Bo said with admiration. Tell us? Bloody or heartwarming? Those memories are too distant. I don't want to recall them, Lu Shuang said ambiguously. Did the commander participate in a war? That kind of real war where you live and die in shells every day? Hang Tian asked again. Lu Shuang looked at Hang Tian's dark face. Her eyes were sparkling. She cleared her throat and explained, the doctor is a second-line soldier. It's not that dangerous. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang. All right, the doctor was indeed a second-line soldier. It was not that dangerous. But she didn't go to the battlefield at all. All right, she didn't admit that she had been to the battlefield. Lu Shuang glared at Shen Yan. It was all his fault. He made her a target. She rolled her eyes and smiled. Shen Yan looked at her and had a bad feeling. Mr. President, please tell us your story. We all want to hear it. After all, you are so young. How did you do such an outstanding job? Lu Shuang asked. All the soldiers were distracted and focused on Shen Yan's face. Mr. President, please tell us, Hang Tian said excitedly. He had fought with the president and heard many unknown stories about the president. Thinking about it, he was very excited. Speak. Shen Yan revealed a meaningful smile, graceful and calm at the same time. Why did Lu Shuang have a bad feeling? Could it be that what he was talking about was related to her? Chapter 6:16. Lu Shuang recalled something from when she was younger. When she was in junior high, there was a time when it was raining outside and she didn't go home for lunch. Instead, she bought a bowl of instant noodles and a chicken thigh from the school's supermarket. When she came back, she realized that her umbrella was missing. She searched everywhere but couldn't find it. An hour later, she saw Shen Yan coming over with her umbrella. She was furious and questioned, "Why did you take my umbrella?" "I saw that you weren't going home for lunch, so I wanted to go home for lunch," Shen Yan said righteously. "But you didn't ask for my permission." "How could I ask for your permission when you weren't around?" Shen Yan passed her the umbrella. She took it angrily, feeling extremely annoyed with Shen Yan. When school ended, she opened her umbrella, but it was broken by him. A few of the threads came off and the umbrella was like a wheel. She couldn't take it anymore and stomped her feet in anger. The rain was so heavy that she could only stand at the school's gate for the time being. He held a huge black umbrella and walked over unhurriedly. With an insufferably arrogant attitude he asked, "Do you want me to give you a ride?" She was enraged. "I'll give you a gift. You have to accompany me under the umbrella." He hugged her shoulders and pulled her under his umbrella. "Accompany me home first. When I'm home, I'll give you this umbrella." And so, she accompanied him all the way to his house. This rascal really had to walk. He didn't even take the bus, saying that he couldn't squeeze in. She asked him to take a taxi, but he refused, saying that he couldn't get one. When she reached his house, she was already drenched. She was about to go crazy and beat him up. But she couldn't beat him and was pinned down on the cold ground, sneezing. At that time he said, "When my chauffeur comes back, he'll send you home. The rain is getting heavier and it's not easy to get a taxi here. There are no buses either. Go upstairs and take a shower first in case you catch a cold." She was angry, but she was still young and did not have much of a brain. She was really afraid that she would catch a cold, and she was also a little lazy. She wanted to hitch a ride with him, so she really took a shower at his house. When she came out, she realized that she could no longer wear her clothes, and could only wear the shirt he gave her. Girls in middle school had already started puberty, but they didn't have bras yet. They only wore singlets or bras inside. When she wore his clothes, she didn't wear them because her singlet was also wet. Now that she thought about it, he must have seen her naked at that time. No wonder he didn't let her go home. She waited until 8 o'clock in the evening, but her driver still hadn't returned. She was anxious and hungry. This fellow had prepared a cake for her with ill intentions. After all, she was young and couldn't resist the temptation when she saw a cake. She thought that eating a bit of his cake would be a way to vent her anger. If she didn't eat it, it would be a waste. She would be at a disadvantage. All right? Comforting herself like this, she ate the cake from his house. Soon after eating, she felt sleepy and curled up on the sofa to rest for a while. He rested until the next day. She was in his bed, still wearing his clothes. At that time, she had always suspected that he was behind it. Otherwise, why didn't the driver come back for the whole night? Why did she feel sleepy after eating the cake? Why didn't her mother ask her when she went home the next day? However, she couldn't ask on such an occasion. She would ask after it was over, if she still remembered to ask. To a certain extent, Shen Yan was really bad. My story should start from when I was young. I think I was quite thoughtful when I was young, Shen Yan said with a smile. Lu Shuang pursed his lips and felt very disdainful. Indeed, she was thoughtful. She had been bad since she was young. Mr. President, you are very popular with girls, right? Hang Tian said enviously. Not bad. When it's raining, there are often girls who lend me umbrellas, or when they see that I have an umbrella, they pretend that their own umbrella is broken. They also insist on going to my house, take a bath at my house, and don't leave. There are even girls who stay overnight. Shan Yen said with a smile. At this moment, the usual coldness and seriousness disappeared. The more Lu Shuang listened, the more he couldn't bear to listen to it. There are girls who stay overnight at your house. What did you do? Lu Shuang asked with a fake smile. I was young at that time, but... Shan Yen deliberately dragged the last word. I did what I should do. Yes, you did what you should do. Hang Tian was curious. After all, they were all men, so he was curious and excited about certain topics. I quite liked that girl at that time, so she wanted to stay overnight, so I agreed. Shan Yen said with a smile. Lu Shuang felt that she was talking about her. What did you do? Lu Shuang asked subconsciously. She was wearing my white shirt at that time. She was quite bold. She didn't wear any clothes inside and saw everything. Her breasts were a little small. Lu Shuang's eyes drooped. She was sure that she was talking about her. How could she be so innocent at that time? She had never thought about the problem of being seen naked. And then, Hang Tian asked excitedly, what do you think? We were alone in a room. My parents weren't at home. It was just me and her, Shen Yen said ambiguously. How old was the president at that time? Hang Tian asked immediately. 15 or 16. Didn't the president have any firsts at that time? Hang Tian said with a sneaky smile. I was young at that time, so I didn't understand. I didn't do that kind of thing. I was quite excited after a kiss, Shen Yen said with a smile. You kissed her? Lu Shuang asked in disdain. Shan Yen looked at him, and there was a strange tenderness in her eyes. Yes. Chi. Lu Shuang snorted. He was so bad when he was young. She was innocent. What about that girl? Where is she now? Hang Tian asked curiously. A sharp light flashed in Shen Yen's eyes. His words made the atmosphere a little awkward. Some jokes could be made and some could not be made. Some questions could not be asked because it would be serious if they were asked. Shen Yen smiled. She should have given birth to the child. After all, I am almost 30 now, and she is older than me. Lu Shuang cleared his throat. After relaxing, let's get down to business. Now let's design a few symbols and hand gestures that only we can understand. When we reach the intersection, we can run forward quickly. Yes. The soldiers became serious instantly. Lu Shuang used to be a playful person, so he had a lot of ideas. She designed a few symbols that were simple and easy to remember. She also designed a few simple hand gestures. After all, in this kind of environment, there were not many instructions needed, so there was no need for complicated hand gestures. When they finished designing the symbols and hand gestures, the car stopped. A cold light flashed in Shen Yen's eyes. The hunt had begun. Hello, everyone. I am Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 6:17. After they got out of the car, they registered, took their hats, and put them on. Lu Shuang followed the troops into the forest. The soldiers let her and Shen Yan walk in the middle. They were running fast, and Lu Shuang tried to keep up with them. After running for half an hour, she was already out of breath. Even though she had been training for half a year, her stamina was still not as good as those soldiers. Shen Yan looked back at her and squatted down in front of her. Get on. Lu Shuang shook her hand. You won't be able to take it. Except for the vanguard, the others take turns to carry the commander. We can't waste time on the safe road. Shen Yan said seriously. Seeing his serious look, Lu Shuang didn't dare to refuse. She climbed onto Shen Yan's back and they ran at the same speed as before. Shen Yan carried her and didn't fall behind at all. Lu Shuang leaned on his back and felt warmth in her heart. She didn't expect the noble Shen Yan to have such a gentle side to him. She was impressed by him again. Shen Yan ran for 10 minutes with her on his back. Then someone else carried her. Another 10 minutes later, someone else carried her again. No matter who it was, they all followed behind Shen Yan. I have rested for half an hour and can run for half an hour by myself. Shen Yan. Lu Shuang accidentally called his name. Shen Yan looked back at her, and his eyes were cold. There is no name here, only a code. I am number 4. Lu Shuang had also become more serious. Her own emotions had also changed in the tense and intense environment. After all, those soldiers were really carrying her and treating this drill as a real battle. Number 4, according to the normal speed, how long will it take for us to run out of this forest without getting lost? Lu Shuang asked. Number 1, answer me. Shen Yan threw the question to the others, as if he didn't know. At our current speed, without any enemies or accidents, we'll need 12 hours, number 1 replied. Lu Shuang was speechless. She glared at Shen Yan. Who was the one who said that if everything went well, it would only take a few hours? At the very least, it would take 12 hours. How many hours was 12 hours? If she had known that it would be 12 hours, she would not have come. Now, it was hard to get off the tiger. She wanted to make her hat smoke. Shen Yan saw through her thoughts and explained, I'm not sure either. It would be weird if you don't know about it. I'll be damned if I believe you. Just you wait. Lu Shuang was speechless as he warned. Shen Yan held her hand and ran forward. Lu Shuang was annoyed and pulled his hand away from Shen Yan's. A sharp glint flashed across Shen Yan's eyes as he warned, Get down. Everyone quickly crouched down and found their hiding spots within a second. Lu Shuang paused for a moment. At the thought of 12 hours, she wanted to expose herself and let the enemy kill her, so she squatted down slowly. Shen Yan saw through her intention. He took off her hat and put it on his head. Then he threw his hat to Hang Tian, who was supposed to follow them. Although Hang Tian didn't know why, he still gave his hat to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was speechless. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Shen Yan was bullying her on purpose. She saw that everyone was hiding well and no one was looking at her. She opened her mouth and bit Shen Yan's shoulder. Shen Yan felt the pain and turned around. He pressed her under his body and covered her mouth. Lu Shuang bit the flesh on his palm. Shen Yan let go of her. There were a few bite marks on his palm. He looked at her helplessly. Under normal circumstances, Lu Shuang was impulsive when he got angry. When the impulse disappeared, he wouldn't be angry anymore. She held his hand and looked at it. There were bite marks on his palm. For some reason, she felt sorry for him. She kissed the palm of his hand. Shen Yan raised the corner of his mouth and touched her face. This quarrel had finally come to an end. A minute later, Lu Shuang heard the rustling sound of someone stepping on dead wood. They were moving very fast. The soldiers looked at Lu Shuang. Should they start fighting or let them pass? If they started fighting, they would exhaust their forces and the people behind them would catch up. They would become the fishermen. But if they didn't start fighting, the others would have a stronger position first. They would be at a disadvantage if they fell behind. Shen Yan was also hesitating. He raised his hand and was ready to give the order to shoot. Lu Shuang stood up and shouted, Hey, wait a minute. Team A, who was walking, was shocked when they heard someone talking. They all turned to look at her. Not to mention the 10 people in Team A. Even the people in Lu Shuang's team looked at Lu Shuang in shock. If Lu Shuang was the only one exposed, wouldn't he be telling the others that their people were nearby? Lu Shuang took off his hat and held it in his arms. He smiled and said, "Here's the thing. There are 5 teams that can get all the flags. Let's form an alliance. If we work together, we can definitely get into the top 3. If we don't form an alliance, I can tell you that you are already in our encirclement. To show my sincerity, I will exchange the president's hat with your commanders. You better think about it quickly. Someone is going to overtake you soon." Shen Yan was speechless. He really didn't expect Lu Shuang to propose an alliance without discussing it with them. But now that he thought about it, an alliance might be the best way. 20 people against 10 people would be a lot more likely to win. Shen Yan also stood up. He saw the unmanned surveillance plane flying above their heads. The people in Team A looked at each other and didn't think too much. "All right, we'll form an alliance." Lu Shuang handed Shen Yan's hat over. The commander of Team A handed the hat over to Shen Yan respectfully. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang smiled. Shen Yan was wearing her hat. Waha, Shen Yan's hat was with Hang Tian. She didn't mind sacrificing herself anyway. It would be better to end things earlier. Shen Yan remained silent and didn't expose him. Hang Tian wouldn't expose him either. He was staring at the president's hat. He had to be careful. Team A took out the map. "We're going to run to this place and set up the trap." Lu Shuang was surprised. He took out the map. "We're going to set up the trap. The enemy is the same as yours. Let's go. Hurry up." Shen Gu was speechless. Lu Shuang was the commander. They all listened to Lu Shuang. But they felt that Lu Shuang was more charismatic than them. They felt at ease being commanded by her, even though she wasn't physically fit. All of them ran forward with all their might. Lu Shuang ran for 20 minutes and couldn't run anymore. Shen Yan squatted down in front of Lu Shuang without a word. Chapter 6:18. She saw a man with red smoke above his head. He raised his hands and lay on the ground. "Are we ambushed?" Lu Shuang asked. "Someone is faster than us." "Is the person who dyed my hat?" Lu Shuang immediately asked. Shen Yan squinted at her and said helplessly, "No, look at the 9 o'clock position. Keep an eye on the 9 o'clock direction. On the tree, number 3 has confirmed the position of the 3 people. You can order the snipers to fire." Lu Shuang made an OK gesture to number 3 on the tree. Number 3 gestured an OK sign to their sniper. Lu Shuang only heard 7 bangs. She didn't know what had happened. She just saw red smoke and yellow smoke around her. "What's going on? Am I dead?" Lu Shuang asked in confusion. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang helplessly and couldn't help sighing. "If you are dead, there will be no reward." "No reward at all?" Lu Shuang thought for a moment and said, "Why don't you tell me the reward first and let me think about it?" "The thing you want the most." Shen Yan's eyes flashed with sharpness. "Let's go." She pulled her away. Lu Shuang only heard a bang. It seemed to be coming towards her. She immediately lay on the ground and didn't dare to say anything. As time passed, the surroundings were so quiet that they could hear the sound of insects. It seemed to be peaceful, but Lu Shuang knew that there were at least 20 people lying in ambush nearby. She saw that the dead people were still lying on the ground. Why are they still here? Lu Shuang was confused and asked with her lips. "Rules." Shen Yan said simply. Lu Shuang didn't say anything. After lying on the ground for another 10 minutes, she felt that her legs were sore, but she didn't dare to move. She could only look at Shen Yan. Shen Yan pursed her lips and didn't say anything. She looked around with her sharp eyes. He probably didn't know where the enemy was hiding. They could hide, but she couldn't. However, she wasn't wearing her hat. Even if she went out, she wouldn't be the one to die. The person who died would probably die from anger. She sighed. If she continued to hide, she would definitely be in a disadvantageous position. The longer she delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be. The sky darkened faster in the forest than outside. She felt the knife on her leg and threw it towards the tree. Because of her action, Many people reacted. Look at the 6 o'clock direction, Shinian said in a low voice. She didn't even look at him and made an okay gesture. Then, there was a lot of banging, a lot of gunfire, a lot of smoke. Am I dead? Lu Shuang asked in confusion. No, Shinian replied. Tell your warriors to lie down and don't move. A new team is coming. Damn, we haven't even set up the trap and so many people have already died. So many people have to die for just one flag. It's so difficult to take 5. Lu Shuang complained and signaled the soldiers not to move. Everyone hid and didn't move. She wanted to lie down and wait, but she was too anxious. What if she took a nap? Maybe it would be solved. Lu Shuang lowered her head and closed her eyes. After a while, she really fell asleep. She heard a bang, followed by a few more bangs. When she opened her eyes, she saw smoke coming from the enemies. Am I dead? No. Shaniyan frowned and said, lie down here and don't move. Lu Shuang continued to lower her head. Why am I not dead yet? She waited for another 10 minutes. Her feet were numb, and she was in a dead end again. No one made a sound, and no one broke the deadlock. She threw the knife again. Where was Sheniyen? Didn't he say that he would stay 1 meter beside her? She had to keep up with him. Bang, bang, 2 more shots. Lu Shuang turned around subconsciously. There were 2 people not far from her, and they were staring at her. She felt exposed and rolled a few times subconsciously. Before she could see who it was, she was pressed to the ground. She thought, I'm doomed. But that person didn't make a move. Lu Shuang looked up and saw that it was Shani Yen. He squatted down beside her again and pointed to the thorns not far away. Lu Shuang saw that it was thorns. She thought that there were thorns, so she shook her head. Shani Yen had no choice but to press his lips against hers. Lu Shuang's heart was beating so fast that it was about to explode. If this guy was seen by his warriors, his reputation would be swept to the ground. He was a married man. Was he courting death? She didn't dare to move, for fear of being discovered. Shani Yen couldn't stop kissing her. She was embarrassed, angry, and annoyed, but she couldn't do anything about it. He kissed for 3 minutes before stopping. He pointed to the thorns. Lu Shuang was forced to nod. Shani Yen smiled and mouthed, wait for me there. He rushed out to cover for her. The others all looked at him. Shani Yen was very fast, and he ran and jumped in an irregular route. Lu Shuang covered her face and hid in the thorns. Luckily, she was wearing thick clothes, so the thorns on the thorns couldn't pierce her flesh. She could only hear the sound of gunshots. She didn't know if Shani Yen was dead or not. However, Shani Yen's hat seemed to belong to the captain of Team A. He wasn't the one who died. She heard gunshots from time to time. Lu Shuang looked at her watch. It had been half an hour since Shani Yen rushed out. She couldn't help sighing. 12 hours? She felt that she wouldn't be able to get out of here in 24 hours. Now she hadn't gotten a flag and had been in a stalemate for a few hours. A hot and humid breath attacked her. Lu Shuang looked at the person who came. Shani Yen's forehead and nose were covered with sweat. He had gone out for a while, but he was still alive. Was he too powerful, or was he too weak? How is it? Lu Shuang mouthed. Shani Yen made a 1 sign and used her other hand to touch her waist bag. She made another 2 sign and walked closer to him. She made a gesture of, don't move, with both hands. Lu Shuang understood. He meant that she killed one and got the flag, but there were 2 more teams approaching them. He wanted her to hide inside and not move. Lu Shuang frowned. If there were 2 more teams coming, wouldn't it be a mess? However, thinking about it, it was normal. She remembered that there was a time when she was crazy about playing the game of Greedy Snake. It was a team competition. When she was a small snake, she would run wherever the war was fierce. It was easy to eat a lot of snakes that way. After she became a big snake, she liked to stay away from the war zone and slow down. She was so slow that she could eat those little snakes. Now it was the same. Everyone only had 1 flag. When they heard the gunshots, many people who didn't have a flag wanted to come over and be the fishermen, just like her when she played Greedy Snake. Now, they would probably be in a stalemate with this enemy for a few hours. She pointed to the sky. The sky was getting dark. It got dark early in the forest. In another 2 hours, she wouldn't be able to see her fingers. Chapter 6:19. Lu Shuang's heart skipped a beat. There was a strange feeling flowing in his chest. She lay on Shen Yan's lap. His legs exudes the heat after the exercise, pores on the face, very comfortable. She remembered that she had experienced such a situation before. That year, when she was in her second year of high school, it was summer vacation. Her studies were not that intense, so the school organized a summer camp. She went and so did he. They set up tents in the jungle. In fact, the teachers chose safe areas that were protected. However, at that time, she was young, impulsive, curious, and loved exploring and taking risks. Her classmates took the opportunity to look for wild vegetables to pass through the safe area. As they walked, the sky became darker and darker, and they lost their way. She accidentally fell into a trap designed by a hunter and couldn't climb up. However, her classmates were so scared that they fled in all directions, not daring to save her. She was hungry and scared in the cave. She had never been in love before, so she didn't want to die. She was the only child of her parents. If she died, her parents would be so sad. It was so quiet that it made people tremble in fear. She began to cry, and she even cried out loud. Just then something fell. She was so scared that she leaned to the side. Someone jumped down. It was him, Shen Yan. He said disdainfully, "It's not a big deal. Why are you crying? Aren't you usually very fierce? What do you know?" She didn't want to talk to him, so she turned her back to him. He was leisurely lying on the ground, looking at the dark sky, and said, "Have you heard the story of Xiangxi village?" Of course, she hadn't heard of it. It was too scary to let her imagination run wild. Listening to a story to divert her thoughts was not a bad idea, so she turned around and faced him. Shen Yan raised the corner of his mouth and said, "In this world, there is a very special mountain village called Xiangxi village. This mountain village is similar to this place. It is surrounded by mountains, and in front of the mountains is a lake. If the villagers want to go out, there is only one way, which is to take a boat out of a cave. But there are water monsters in the cave, so there are usually only a few people who go through the cave alive." "Is what you said true or false? Is it a story?" Lu Shuang asked in confusion. "It's true. My classmate went there last month." Shen Yan glanced at her and said with a smile. That pretty face of hers was really mesmerizing. However, at that time, Lu Shuang didn't get along with him, so he didn't notice his appearance. He smiled and said, "Which classmate are you?" "Your classmate seems to be my classmate. I didn't notice that your classmate asked for leave last month. Are you talking about the weekend?" "He's not from your school. Before I transferred here, he had a good relationship with me," Shen Yan explained. "And then?" Lu Shuang asked. Shen Yan narrowed her eyes. "He told me that he saw something unbelievable. He wasn't the only one who went there. 3 of his classmates went with him. They went there because of the summer camp, but they felt that the camp was boring, so they crossed the mountain and went there by accident. To Xiangxi village." "I don't believe it. You just said that there is a river in front of every mountain. How did they go there by accident?" Shen Yan was helpless. She looked at Lu Shuang with drooping eyes. "You know about the movement of the Earth's crust, right? The plates under the ground are all moving. After thousands of years, Xiangxi village is no longer surrounded by mountains, but there is a road. It's been thousands of years. How do you know that it used to be surrounded by mountains?" Lu Shuang felt that he was talking nonsense. "My friend found the legend about Xiangxi village in one of the rooms. I will tell you later. Do you want to hear it?" Lu Shuang thought for a while and nodded. "Go ahead." When they arrived at Xiangxi village, they found that there was no signal on their phones. "Isn't it normal that there is no signal in the mountains?" Lu Shuang interrupted. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang knew that he had interrupted again. He zipped his mouth to show that he would not interrupt again. He continued, "They saw that the village was still the same as it was 1,000 years ago. Everything was built with mud. They met an old lady on the road, and she was wearing clothes from this era. Isn't that normal? Since there is a road, someone must have gone out." Lu Shuang interrupted again. "Lu Shuang, I want to shut your mouth. Has anyone told you that you talk a lot?" It will be hard for you to find a boyfriend if you are so noisy. You are the one who is hard to find. Hua Shiqiang from next door likes me. He even wrote me a love letter. Lu Shuang retorted. Shen Yan sneered. His eyes were cold. Hua Shiqiang from next door, right? He was unlucky. My friend saw that it was getting late and he couldn't go back today. It was dark in the forest, and it was very dangerous. He wanted to stay the night. He said to the old lady, "Grandma, can I stay the night at your house? We can give you some money." The old lady showed a strange smile. She did not say anything. She pointed at the house in front of them and led the way. My friend and her classmates followed the old lady to the house she pointed at. They met a beggar on the way. "I think your friend is lying. How could there be a beggar in this shabby village? He must be blind to go to such a shabby village," Lu Shuang said with a smile. Shen Yan sighed and turned around. His handsome face appeared in front of her, facing her. Lu Shuang was startled. She stepped back subconsciously and pressed her lips together. "Lu Shuang, tell me. What should I do to shut your mouth?" Shen Yan looked down at her lips. After all, Lu Shuang was young at that time. She could not stand the fright. Moreover, she was in a cave of only 2 square meters. She could not beat Shen Yan. She covered her mouth and sat cross-legged on the ground. Shen Yan sat next to her and continued to say, "My friend went to the old lady's house. A 16-year-old girl came out. The girl was very beautiful. When she smiled, there were dimples on her face. She was wearing very old clothes, but the material of the clothes was very good. It could be seen that this family should be relatively rich in this mountain village." Lu Shuang wanted to say something. After thinking for a moment, she kept silent and continued to listen. After my friend and her classmates entered the room, they smelled a strange smell in the room. It was very similar to agarwood. It was a very strong agarwood, but there seemed to be some other smell in the agarwood. I couldn't tell what it was. It was very strange. When I went to buy clothes last time, I also smelled agarwood in that shop. It smelled very good, like the smell of the temple. Later I told my mother. My mother bought it and put it in the toilet to remove the smell, Lu Shuang said. Shen Yan was used to her interrupting. The strange thing is that there are a lot of people's photos on the wall. P.S. I will write about Shen Lu during this period. Everyone, wait a little longer. Gubai will be back soon. I promise it will be very shocking. Hello, everyone. I am Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 620. That's normal. Nowadays, many people like to hang photos on the wall. It's also a kind of decoration. But the technology of taking photos only existed 100 years ago. It indirectly means that the mountain village is actually very rich. Maybe there are some treasures hidden inside? Lu Shuang guessed. Yes, it should be very rich because there are really old photos. But there are too many people. It seems that the photos of the whole village are gathered in this room. Shen Yan followed up on Lu Shuang's words. That old lady is the village chief, right? No, that little girl is the village chief. The old lady is their servant. Moreover, the old lady listens to the village chief. She followed the village chief's orders and prepared dinner for my friend. The people of the old village are so simple and kind. Lu Shuang smiled and sighed. Shen Yan twitched the corner of her mouth. She looked at her and said, "My friend happened to need to go to the toilet, so he went out. He didn't know where the door was. Unknowingly, when he walked to the back door, he heard someone knocking on the door. He was very puzzled and walked over to take a look. It was a girl in her 20s who was desperately knocking on the door. The girl was also wearing modern clothes. Her clothes were very beautiful. It was a light yellow skirt with streamers. Especially the same light yellow streamers around her neck. She looked like a little fairy." "Why was the girl locked in the room?" Lu Shuang asked curiously. My friend was as curious as you are. He asked her, "Why are you locked in here?" The girl shouted to my friend, "Run, run, don't stay here, run." My friend looked at the girl carefully. She looked very similar to a girl on the photo wall. He wanted to let the girl out, but he couldn't open the door. The girl shouted, "Hurry up, she's coming, you're all going to die. Don't worry about me. I can't escape from here. Hurry up and leave." My friend was scared by her shouting. He immediately left the room. However, he didn't leave. He wanted to see what was coming. After a minute, he saw the 16 or 17-year-old girl walk over. She had a malicious look on her face. She walked to the door and questioned, "It's you. Why did you come out? Do you want to save them? Aren't you afraid of being thrown into the frying pan again?" When Lu Shuang saw that Shaniyen's voice had become sharp and her expression had become ferocious, he felt a little scared. Shaniyen continued, "My friend was scared to death. His face was pale. He seemed to see the girl looking in his direction, so he ran into the hall. But he found that his other classmates were gone. He didn't have time to call them, so he directly opened the door and rushed out. Lu Shuang's face turned pale. "Shaniyen, are you telling a horror story?" "No, it's a real story," Shaniyen corrected. "Then, where is your classmate's classmate? Where did he go?" Lu Shuang was both afraid and curious. He really wanted to know the answer. My classmate is also very surprised. Where did his classmate go? But he didn't have time to think too much. He rushed out and saw the beggar by the roadside. My friend wanted to run over and ask him if he had seen his classmate. Lu Shuang remembered that it was the beggar he had complained about before. "Did you see him?" My classmate ran to the beggar and found that the beggar was already a skeleton. It was just that he was wearing a black hoodie, so he didn't see it. My friend was so scared that he ran out of the village. But he found that the road was gone, and he couldn't run out no matter how hard he tried. Lu Shuang shivered and curled up his body. He ran out in the end, right? Otherwise, why would he tell you about this? Shaniyen did not answer directly. He realized that there was no way out, and the sky was getting darker and darker. However, he did not dare to enter the village, so he climbed up a tree. He wanted to find a way out during the day. Just as he climbed up the tree, he saw one of his classmates running towards him. He was also panicking. He immediately jumped down from the tree. "My classmate's surname is Li. Even if I tell you his name, you won't know him. Just call him Xiao Li." My classmate told me the name of the classmate who ran over, but I forgot it. "Let's call him Xiao Lu." "Xiao Lu, are you a man or a woman?" Lu Shuang asked. Shaniyen glanced at her. "A man." "Oh, and then?" My friend asked him what happened. Xiao Lu said that the three of them were in the living room, and then a painting fell from the wall. He went to pick it up. It was a painting of a girl about 25 or 26 years old. She was quite pretty, and she was wearing modern clothes. It was a light yellow skirt. She also had ribbons, and there was a similar light yellow ribbon around her neck. She looked like a little fairy. "Isn't this the girl who was locked in the room?" Lu Shuang heard something strange. "Yes." When my friend was about to hang the painting up, he found that there was a hole behind the painting. There were ashes and a memorial tablet in the hole, and there was a girl's photo on the memorial tablet, Shaniyen continued. Lu Shuang adjusted her clothes. It was summer, and she felt cold. "That girl is dead?" My friend hung up the girl's photo and found the photo of the girl who was 16 or 17 years old. In the photo, she was also wearing the ancient dress that she was wearing now. The eyes in the photo seemed to blink. My friend was shocked and thought that he had seen it wrong, so he took the photo down and put it back. There was a hole behind the photo, and the girl's ashes and memorial tablet were placed in the hole. There was a girl's photo on the memorial tablet. The only difference was that someone was burning incense in front of the memorial tablet. Lu Shuang became nervous. It must be a prank. How could it be real? It's not a prank. Pranks are usually used in variety shows or between friends. They got lost and went to Xiangxi village. How could it be a prank? That girl is really dead. Is she a ghost? It can't be. Ghosts are all superstitions. It's not scientific. Maybe the one who died was the girl's sister. She just looked like her. My friend thought so too at first, but he was afraid of being put into a pot of boiling oil. So the two of them discussed and decided to go to other houses to find out what was going on. At the same time, they wanted to look for their lost classmate. So, the two of them went back to the village together. They encouraged each other. They took a detour and went to the furthest house. My friend wanted to knock on the door, but his classmate stopped him. He was afraid that the person who opened the door would be an evil spirit. So, The two of them opened the door quietly and went in. They were shocked. What happened? Lu Shuang held Shen Yan's hand. Chapter 621. Lu Shuang felt creeped out. Shen Yan, stop talking. Your classmate came out in the end, right? You don't want to hear it? Shen Yan looked at her and said. Lu Shuang shook her head. After all, she was still a very young girl at that time. I don't want to hear it. Don't scare me. The village is not far from here, Shen Yan said. Ah! Lu Shuang screamed and hugged Shen Yan's arm. She said pitifully, don't scare me. Shen Yan was very satisfied with Lu Shuang's behavior. She put her arm around her shoulder and said, I'm not scaring you. It's a real thing. I'm still in contact with my classmate. When we go back, I can ask him to tell you. But his other classmates are not so lucky. Are they all dead? Lu Shuang hugged her tighter, her body shivering. Not only are they all dead. Do you remember what I said about the photos on the wall? They are all dead people. They are passers-by who were summoned by the ghosts here. After they died, their souls were imprisoned in those houses and couldn't be released, Shen Yan said seriously. Then how did your classmate get out? Lu Shuang asked. My classmate overturned a mud house. When the house collapsed, the souls inside were released. Some souls helped my classmate find a way out of gratitude, so my classmate escaped, Shen Yan explained. Could it be that your classmate lied to you? Lu Shuang asked, unwilling to give up. I have photos of him and those souls. Do you want me to show them to you? No. Lu Shuang screamed. Last year, I went to the underground palace with my parents. The tour guide said that it was not easy to take photos because the souls would be taken away. That's right. My friend promised those souls that he would bring them out. Then what about those souls? Shen Yan looked behind Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang felt a chill down his spine and his face was numb. He threw himself into Shen Yan's arms and closed his eyes. Shen Yan smiled happily. Don't be afraid. He showed the jade on his neck to Lu Shuang. Do you see this? It's been blessed. No demons or ghosts can get close to it. Hearing his words, Lu Shuang was even more afraid to leave him. Just like that, he nestled in his arms. He smiled and said, Sleep, I'm here. For a moment, she didn't find him so annoying. She really had to fall asleep on his lap. The next day, the school teacher and the police found her. It turned out that before Shen Yan came down, he made a circle around the trap and lit a fire. That way, the mosquitoes wouldn't come in. If someone came across it, they would notice that the smoke was a signal for help. At first, she didn't want to come up, worried that the teacher and the police were the ghosts of Xiangxi village. But when she saw Shen Yan smiling at her, she felt at ease and went up. She hugged Shen Yan's arm the whole time and only let go when they were about to reach the camp. The other students arrived safely. When she got home, she had a high fever. She suspected that she had really met a ghost and didn't dare to sleep at night. Shen Yan came to her house and told her that he lied to her. She was so angry that she almost vomited blood. But now that she thought about it, if Shen Yan hadn't been with her that night, she would have been in trouble. Lu Shuang looked up at Shen Yan. He put his arm around her shoulders, kissed her on the cheek, and nibbled on her ear. Lu Shuang shrunk her head and looked at him. She pulled her ear and asked him with her eyes, What are you doing? Shen Yan didn't say anything and pressed her head on his lap. She had slept enough today and didn't want to sleep for the time being. She straightened her body and pressed Shen Yan down on her thighs, smiling faintly. Shen Yan didn't refuse. He leaned on her lap and closed his eyes. The sky turned dark suddenly. In the forest, it was so dark that she couldn't see her fingers. There was no light at all. It was very quiet all around. She couldn't tell that there were more than 50 people hiding around. Everyone was very patient and didn't make a sound. Lu Shuang looked around and couldn't help but sigh. She had designed a plan before, but in the end, she didn't even need to use it. No wonder armchair strategists usually died faster in actual combat. There were too many unexpected factors in actual combat. Time passed. She didn't know how long it had been. There was no time here. She vaguely heard footsteps and pushed Shen Yan, who was lying on her lap. Shen Yan signaled her not to speak. She threw a wooden stick and hit the person who came. Lu Shuang could only hear the banging sound and see the red light. There was the smell of limestone in the air. Shen Yan pressed her head. She could feel that there were bullets shooting at her, but their hats didn't make any sound. The enemy Shen Yan chose was really good. The gunshots lasted for 10 minutes and gradually subsided. Lu Shuang didn't know what the situation was now. Was her hat smoking? How many of her people were left? How many of her allies were left? How many of her enemies were killed? How were the others? In this situation, she didn't think she could get out in 42 hours, let alone 24 hours. She was originally a chatterbox. Now she couldn't speak and was a little hungry. Shen Yan covered her mouth. Lu Shuang ate the sweet chocolate. He peeled it when there were gunshots. In that way, the sound of gunshots could cover the sound of peeling chocolate. Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yan gratefully. Even though they were very close, they couldn't even see the outline clearly. In this situation, it wasn't power that depended on, but hearing and alertness. Lu Shuang ate the sweet chocolate and felt that there was nothing to complain about. After all, the chocolate she ate was given by Shen Yan. Shen Yan was still hungry. Time ticked by. Lu Shuang found a comfortable place on the ground and fell asleep on his knees. But he couldn't sleep well. At night, there were 5 fierce battles in succession. He didn't know how the situation was. In the morning, the sky gradually brightened. There was a faint light in the forest, and people could be seen. Shen Yan seemed to be asleep too. He closed his eyes and leaned against the thorns. Wasn't he afraid of being pricked by needles? Lu Shuang gently pulled his hand, and Shen Yan opened his eyes and looked at him. Lu Shuang looked at him, and many thoughts flashed through his mind. This guy, why did he come to the jungle to be abused instead of being a president? Was he stupid? Shen Yan was good at everything, except for his bad taste and bad interests. For example, did he like her? Lu Shuang twitched the corner of his mouth. Shen Yan also twitched the corner of his mouth, and they looked at each other and smiled. She saw him smile and was a little angry. He liked to court death. Why did he bring her along? She didn't sleep well last night. People like her usually ate normally, and even ate several meals. But now, she didn't eat dinner last night, and she didn't dare to eat breakfast. She was so hungry that her stomach hurt. Chapter 622. She thought about it again. He had brought her here to experience life. After all, he had suffered together with her. Although she did not know what use it would be to her in the future, she felt that there were some strange emotions in her, such as hot blood, excitement, and the desire to try. She smiled again, and Shen Yan smiled with her. It was undeniable that her emotions had a fatal influence on him. Lu Shuang mouthed, "Hungry. Eat. Remember to keep your head down." Shen Yan said, got up, and went out. Lu Shuang did not know where he was going. He wanted to stop him, but heard the sound of gunshots, so he quickly kept his head down. Shen Yan said that he could keep his head down and eat. It was a small matter if his hat smoked, but it was a big matter if he starved to death. After all, he was the one who was hungry, and if his hat smoked, it might be a relief. She touched the bread in her bag and ate it silently. Shen Yan had climbed to a tree not far away from her, and he looked around coldly. Lu Shuang hid in a very good place. The place was full of thorns, which could block bullets and also block people's sight. Moreover, he put a wooden stake in front of the thorns. That was to say, if he wanted to shoot Lu Shuang's hat smoked, he had to get close to him. Lu Shuang was afraid of hunger. If he made any noise, it would definitely attract the attention of the people around him. But there was nothing they could do. After all, she had something to hide. If she lay down, others would know that she was there, and they would not be able to shoot her. However, there would definitely be people who would take the risk and attack her at close range. Therefore, he hid not far away from her, and attacked those people who were close to her. As expected, Shen Yan saw someone sneaking over. He shot him, and smoke came out from the top of his head. The others saw that there was an ambush and immediately got down. Shen Yan saw it too and smirked. Another shot. Another hit. Everyone knew that it was a trap, so they didn't dare to go there. Lu Shuang, who was used as bait, didn't know what was going on outside. He lowered his head and enjoyed the food. Shen Yen glanced around and vaguely saw some exposed targets. He shot over, and with a bang, another smoke came out. However, his whereabouts were also discovered. He jumped down from the tree, rolled on the ground, and drilled into the thorns. Lu Shuang looked at him and asked, "What's the situation now?" Shen Yen put in the simulated bullets and explained, "One person in your group died, and there are currently 9 survivors. 3 people in your alliance's group died, and there are 7 survivors. 5 people in Group 3 died, and there are 5 survivors. Of the 10 people in Group 17, 5 came and 4 died, and there is 1 survivor." "How do you know which team they are from?" Lu Shuang was surprised. "There is a logo on the hat on their head. According to the color, it is also the logo to distinguish the teams." Lu Shuang suddenly understood. He was wondering how they could distinguish the teams when they all wore the same clothes and the same color. It turned out that their hats were different. "Which team are we in?" "The last group, 27. Red, yellow, blue, green, cyan, purple, black, white, and gray. According to the serial number, they are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. The left side of our hats is yellow, and the right side is black," Shen Yen reminded. Lu Shuang stared at Shen Yen's hat. Shen Yen tapped her forehead. "I belong to Group 1, so it is only red, just above the screen." Lu Shuang saw it and understood. He said, "You said that there are 5 people in Group 17. Where are the other 5? "I don't know. There are more than these groups here. There are 19 groups, 23 groups, and 25 groups." Lu Shuang counted with his fingers. "That is to say, there are a total of 7 groups and 70 people here. Maybe we can get all the flags?" "It's not that easy. They are in a stalemate now. I only got the flags of Group 3. Lu Shuang was surprised. "You got the flags of Group 3? How did you do it?" "The commander of Group 3 was killed yesterday. His team wanted to get the flags back, but I got there first," Shen Yen explained. Lu Shuang remembered that he had left alone yesterday. So it was to get the flag. "So, those dead people are lying still because they might have flags on them to confuse others, right?" Shen Yen nodded. "Something like that. Then when can they leave? I mean those dead people?" Shen Yen looked at her deeply. "When the battle here is over, they can leave." Beep, beep, beep. The siren was very loud outside. Lu Shuang frowned. "What is that?" "Supplies," Shen Yen said simply. Just as Shen Yen said that, they heard old Zhou's voice. It was through the drone. "Supplies are in place. Supplies are in place. Uninhabited island at latitude and longitude 1235. 23 feet 35 inches. 4762. Attention. Attention. Supplies are in place. Uninhabited island at latitude and longitude 12 feet 35 inches. 2335. 47 feet 62 inches. Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yen. "Do you know how to get to those places?" Shen Yen took out a compass from her bag. There were coordinates on it. This compass was specially made. It was not based on the latitude and longitude of the world. Instead, it was based on the uninhabited island. They had a special way of measuring it. To put it simply, they converted the surface of the uninhabited island into the shape of a ball and expanded it. "Are the supplies referring to food?" Lu Shuang asked. "Not just that. There are food, drinks, bullets, and smoke grenades," Shen Yen explained. "Then are we going to get it or not? If we go and get it, it will be a fierce battle. If we don't, we will starve and not have enough bullets. However, this is the center of the battle. No one dares to act rashly," Shen Yen analyzed. "So, I feel that whether it is a drill or a real battle, there is an element of luck. If we are near the food, we can be the first to rush over and get the food. Moreover, we can also set up traps. It won't be like this, where we are in a stalemate," Lu Shuang sighed. Luck is something that can be looked at but not obtained. Only strength can be improved. Stay here and don't move. I will go and get you food, Shen Yen said in a deep voice. After Shen Yen left, Lu Shuang was a little afraid. Didn't I say not to be more than a meter away from you? You are making things difficult for me. Shen Yen smiled. Do you want me to accompany you or go and get you food? I want to ask you. Maybe the other teams have already gotten the map. After all, it has been a night. If the 5 teams get the flags first, is there a need for us to continue? If the 5 teams get the flags, they will lose if they continue fighting. After all, there are only 5 winners. Of course, there is no need to continue. But we won't know even if they win. Lu Shuang was worried. It will be reported. We will know. Beep 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 beep. The police siren sounded again. Hello everyone, I am Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 623. Quick. Quick. Team 2 was completely wiped out and eliminated in advance. Lu Shuang understood. Even if they were completely wiped out, we should still report it. Besides, Team 2 is not here. So, other places are actually fighting just like here, right? Shen Yan nodded. How long will this drill last? Lu Shuang felt uncomfortable. Maybe 10 days to half a month. Lu Shuang. Who said that it would only take a few hours? What if it rains? It often rains in the forest. Lu Shuang asked. There should be flu and anti-inflammatory medicine in the supplies. Maybe there will be umbrellas and tents. Lu Shuang. She thought about her hat again and complained. Why did you insist on me participating in the drill? Do you not want to see me doing well? I've only been relaxing for a few days. I haven't even played that game properly. You said that it will be next Monday. What's the use of next Monday? Next Monday, I can't get out of here. Shen Yan scratched her nose. You will benefit from the drill. Stay here. Your teammates will protect you. Remember, you must lie down, understand? She could only nod. Shen Yan walked out of her and Lu Shuang continued to lie down. Hopefully, they would be lucky and end it soon. Shen Yan said that she would benefit from the drill and give her what she wanted the most. To be honest, apart from revenge, she didn't know what she wanted the most. She didn't have a goal in her life. If she had to pick one, she would muddle along and be happy and relaxed every day. The people she loved and liked were just as happy and relaxed as she was. Did that count? Gunshots came from outside from time to time. It sounded particularly intense. With a bang, it flew over her head and hit the tree behind her. The sound was extraordinarily loud. It was different from the previous bangs. It seemed that the decibel and speed of the gunshots were several times higher. Then, the gunshots were all fired at her. There was a loud bang. It didn't seem to be a simple gunshot. The thorns around her were ignited. Lu Shuang was so scared that he wanted to run out from under the thorns. Anyway, it was just smoke coming out of his hat, and he would not really die. This is the real deal. An enemy has snuck in. Everyone, be careful, someone shouted. Lu Shuang's face turned pale with fear. There was actually a real weapon. No wonder she felt that the bullets were different. This time, it wasn't that her hat was smoking, but that she was really going to die. She lay on her stomach and covered her head, not daring to move at all. A masked mercenary came towards her quickly with a real gun in his hand. Zhu Jiang rushed over and fought with the enemy. With a bang. He was hit in the arm by a real bullet, and his body was covered in blood as he was flung away. Only then did they realize that there was a sniper hiding in the shadows. Lu Shuang remembered that he had a real gun in his pocket, so he quickly took it out and took out the walkie-talkie. He said anxiously, Shen Yan, I have real bad guys here. They have real guns. I'm scared. Come back quickly. Shen Yan did not make a sound. Lu Shuang was even more scared, worried that he was also in danger. A masked man walked in front of her and raised his gun. Lu Shuang knew that she was definitely going to die. Shen Yan's face flashed in her mind. If he had known that she would die in this drill, would he still have brought her here? De Bao's face also flashed in her mind. De Bao would be very pitiful without a mother. She also thought that Hua Zixing should be a gentle person who would treat her baby well. With a bang, the masked man was shot in the head, and he fell straight down in front of her. Lu Shuang looked at the dead masked man in surprise. Was Shen Yan back? If only she had Bai Ya's courage. Bai Ya would definitely not be afraid. Last time when she was assassinated in the villa on the island, it was all because of Bai Ya that she was able to escape danger. What should she do? What should she do? She saw another masked man rolling in front of her, raising his gun and pointing it at her. She screamed in fright and fired at the masked man, not caring if she could hit him or not. The masked man also fired at her. She seemed to have been shot, right in the position of her heart. It was very painful, and she fell to the ground. Seeing that she had been shot, the masked man closed his eyes and passed out. Beep, 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 beep. The sirens sounded again. Attention all soldiers, attention all soldiers. There are foreign mercenaries breaking into the island. Stop the drill, change to invisible tags. We will definitely catch the foreign invaders. We will definitely catch the foreign invaders. There is also a masked man approaching. It's Lu Shuang, but there seems to be a hidden sniper. With a bang, he killed the man in front of him. The invisible soldiers also looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. There seemed to be two groups of mercenaries on the island. One group of mercenaries wanted to kill Lu Shuang, and the other group wanted to protect Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang caught her breath, sat up, and looked at her heart. Although she had been shot and it was very painful, she was fine. She was probably wearing a fireproof vest. No wonder Shen Yan told her to protect her head. Don't move. Don't move. Don't stop me. My mission is to protect Lu Shuang, the mercenary said in English. Lu Shuang wanted to poke her head out to look, but she was afraid and didn't dare to. She couldn't die. She was afraid of dying. She quickly covered her head with her hands, lay on the ground, and didn't move. She didn't know what Shen Yan was doing now and when he would come back. She would only feel more at ease when he was here. A mercenary with his face covered saw that they were looking at another mercenary, so he quickly ran towards Lu Shuang. When he was about 10 meters away from Lu Shuang, he suddenly stopped and touched his neck. A syringe was shot into his neck. His eyes turned black, he staggered a few steps, and fell to the ground. The soldiers looked at the mercenary again. The leader of the masked mercenary saw that they had fallen into an ambush. Now that he was the only one left in his team, he could only retreat. He turned around and was shocked to see Shen Yan standing in front of him. Shen Yan was standing behind him without anyone noticing. He had caught all of his men in one fell swoop. Could it be that he had left on purpose to let them think that they had a chance? Shen Yan smiled. There were 5 of you, and now you are the only one left. You know that you can't run away. The person who hired you can't protect you either. The only one who can protect you is me. I won't betray the person who hired me, even if it means death, the masked man said firmly. Very well, but I don't like things that are beyond my control. Within 24 hours, the information of your friends, lover, parents, and children will be in my hands. I'm not a merciful person, you should know that. Since you don't want to expose the person behind you, then you will be responsible for the death of my woman's parents. Chapter 624. The calmer he was, the more people felt that he was telling the truth, because his cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. I'll take responsibility for my own actions. The mercenary leader was scared. His forehead was covered in sweat. You don't have the right to do that. Either tell me who hired you, and I'll give you 10 million, and you can quit being a mercenary and live a good life with your family. Or, I'll let your family reunite with you in hell. Of course, you don't have much time to think about it. You have a companion who was knocked out by me. He might confess before you do, Shen Yan said coldly. The masked mercenary took off his mask. His face was slightly pale. It seemed like he had no other choice. I don't know his exact identity. We've been communicating through emails and phone calls. I received a notice yesterday that he asked me to come to this island and kill Lu Shuang. If the information you provide is of no use to me, I can only let you reunite with your family in hell. Shen Yan curled up the corner of his mouth and looked at him coldly. The masked mercenary clenched his teeth and made up his mind. He appeared when I was on a mission in England. He shot and killed Lu Shuang's mother. I took a photo of him and followed him. I know that he registered himself as Chong Junshuo in the hotel. Chong Junshuo? You know that they always use fake identities when they go out. Don't be like toothpaste that needs me to squeeze a little and tell you something. I know that you know more than this, Shen Yan said with certainty. She looked at the mercenary leader with an oppressive gaze. The masked mercenary leader thought for a while. Will you really let me go if I tell you? Of course. Since you're not the murderer, killing you won't do me any good. If I break my promise to you, how can I cooperate with others? Shani Yan said with certainty. When he returned to country A, he used the name Yuan Cheng on his passport. I traced it through his IP address. The owner is called Chong Jiang. He has a girlfriend called Lang Zi. He also used Lang Zi's account to transfer money to me. Later, I found out that he seemed to be related to you invisible big shots. He's the illegitimate son of a big shot. That's all I know. After all, he's just my hired servant, not the target of my investigation. Which big shot? Shen Yan asked. Well, I don't know. Then how did you know that he was the illegitimate son of some big shot? Shen Yan narrowed her eyes. First of all, he's always been wearing formless clothes, so he probably worships formless a lot. Secondly, one day when we were chatting, he picked up a phone call and called out, Dad. Then he said darkly, be careful in formless, I'll do my job well. Doesn't that mean that he has a father in formless? But, how would an invisible person dare to send his own son? He could also be an adopted son, right? Shen Yan raised a question. Yes, that's possible. Where are the photos? Shen Yan asked. The masked mercenary took out his phone and handed it to Shen Yan. Shen Yan took it from him. A murderous look flashed across the masked mercenary's eyes. He stabbed the knife at Shen Yan. Shen Yan dodged the knife alertly and injected the needle into the masked mercenary's neck artery. The mercenary didn't expect Shen Yan to be so skilled. He slowly knelt on the ground and fainted. Shen Yan walked out and went to the captured mercenary. She looked at his face and confirmed that he was sent by Ya. She said in a deep voice, let them go. We haven't completed the mission yet. We can't leave, the mercenary replied. She won't participate in the drill. She'll leave now. Don't worry and go back. I'll talk to Bai Ya, Shen Yan said. The mercenary paused and looked at Kuan, who was hiding in the dark. Kuan walked out and stood in front of Shen Yan. You arranged everything, didn't you? I'll protect my own people. You found her at 10:20 last night, right? Shen Yan smiled. She knew their operation like the back of her hand. Luckily, my mission wasn't to deal with you. Otherwise, my team would have been wiped out like Yan's, Kuan said. You know him? Shen Yan was curious. Yan's team is quite famous in our circle. Their success rate is 99%. You are one of those 1%, Kuan sighed. If someone asks you to deal with me, please reject the deal with your friend. If you can do me a favor, I won't disappoint you, Shen Yan said with a smile. All right, Kuan agreed and clapped his hands. The other 3 members of his team walked out. Let's go, Kuan said. Sir, what should we do now? Cheng Mingho asked. Since it's an invisible drill, let the invisible people continue. We won't participate. I have other things for you to do, Shen Yan said coldly. Yes. Lu Shuang actually heard what Shen Yan said, but Shen Yan didn't allow her to come out, so she didn't dare to come out. Shen Yan went to her and pulled her out. When Lu Shuang saw him, she knew that she was safe. She hugged him with lingering fear, but thinking that there were many invisible people around, she immediately let go of him and flattered him in a businesslike manner. Thank you, Mr. President, for protecting this subordinate. This subordinate will do her best to be loyal to Mr. President. You have to do your best to be loyal? Shen Yan mulled over this sentence meaningfully. Lu Shuang pursed her lips and slapped his arm, signaling him not to take advantage of her and to stop before going too far. Shen Yan smiled and said to the camera, Group 27 is out of the game. The others continue. Beep, 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 beep. Zhou received the order and was also shocked. He had followed Shen Yan for many years and knew Shen Yan was good at strategizing. But he didn't expect that the drill was completely under Shen Yan's control. They even caught a few mercenaries. If he didn't guess wrong, the mercenaries this time were hired by the invisible people. Otherwise, they wouldn't only target Lu Shuang. Lao Yao was taken away after the last assassination. He probably couldn't see the sun anymore. Why didn't they stop the assassination? If they didn't handle it well, the invisible people might feel disappointed. They might think that the president loved beauties more than the country. But if they didn't handle it, It would damage the president's dignity. It was difficult. Chapter 625. Shen Yan came to the commander of Team 1 and returned his hat to him, changing it to Lu Shuang's hat. At the same time, he passed the 2 flags to him and patted his shoulder. The commander of Team 1 was in awe and saluted Shen Yan. He did not know when the president had gotten the flags. How did he do it in such a chaotic situation? Shen Yan smiled. She was graceful, elegant, and had the confidence and arrogance of the Shen family. She called old Zhou and said, "Send a plane to longitude 16/27. "Yes," old Zhou replied. Glancing at the masked mercenary lying on the ground, Shen Yan ordered, "Guards of the 27th team, those who are alive and those who are injured, follow me. As for the other members of the 27th team, deal with the corpses on the ground and gather at the base." Yes. The team members saluted. Shen Yan walked in front. Lu Shuang immediately followed behind Shen Yan and asked in confusion, "Why did we suddenly stop the drill?" Shen Yan looked at him and said, "I have a gift. Of course, I don't want you to work so hard." "What gift?" Lu Shuang was confused. "I have found the person who killed your mother." Shen Yan smiled and said in a low voice. Lu Shuang's mouth opened in shock. "Really? When? Who? Is it in your mind? You can say that." Shen Yan looked a little sad. "I need to think about it. But I will definitely give you an explanation. I owe you this." Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yan and felt a warm and wet feeling in his heart. When she followed Shen Yan, she figured out why Shen Yan insisted that she participate in the drill. He deliberately gave others a chance to assassinate her. Only when others assassinated her could he accurately catch those people. When he went to get the supplies later, he deliberately gave those people a chance to take advantage of. In fact, he had already set up a trap. When he said that he would give her the gift she wanted the most, he really wanted to take revenge for her. It turned out that he was not joking. He really wanted to help her get revenge. It seemed that he really had her in his heart. Otherwise, he would not have gone through so much trouble to mobilize all the invisible people. She did not have high ambitions. She wanted to find an ordinary man, who did not need to be too handsome or have a good figure. She also wanted to have an ordinary job. As long as it was stable, she did not need to make a lot of money, have a pair of cute children, and live an ordinary life. But now, to her, Shen Yan seemed to be the most perfect person in the world, except that he had a bad temper and was married. He was so handsome that he could turn the world upside down. He was an aristocrat who had received an upper-class education. He had a good figure, a good brain, and was resourceful. Other than standing at the peak of power, he had agile skills and meticulous thinking. He also had a listed company behind him and was rich enough. Her family's Debao had his genes, so he had already revealed the wisdom of a genius. For the continuation of the next generation, it seemed like it would be good for her to have another child with him. Seeing that she was thinking about something, Shen Yan stopped. Lu Shuang was not careful. He bumped into her and jumped away. "You did it on purpose? Look at the road. Where are your eyes?" Shen Yan reminded him. "I was thinking about something," Lu Shuang explained. "Oh, what are you thinking about? Tell me." Shen Yan stood beside her. She would not tell him what she was really thinking about. "If Bai Ya's people hadn't come to save me, I might have been dead. I am a little hesitant now. Should I forgive her?" Lu Shuang lowered his eyes and said. Shen Yan really wanted to hold her hand, but after all, they were still formless and the guards behind them. Among these people, some were not even his confidants. He held back and said in a low voice, "Then you have to ask your heart. If Bai Ya was the one in trouble today, what would you do?" If Bai Ya was in trouble, she would help her. After all, she used to be her best friend. But she still felt uncomfortable and touched. Back then, Bai Ya was willing to sacrifice her love for her. Lu Shuang's eyes were a little red. "I want to forgive her, but I don't know if we will become the friends we used to be. Let's take one step at a time." "Well, I will support your decision. Let's go to the rest stop first." The rest stop that Shen Yan mentioned was at latitude and longitude 1627. There was a house and an empty space there. When they arrived, the plane had already arrived. The guards moved the masked mercenaries onto the plane and tied them up. Shan Yan stepped on the plane and wanted to pull Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang supported himself with both hands and climbed up. Shan Yan sat down on the seat, and Lu Shuang also sat down next to him. Looking at the tied masked mercenaries, perhaps he was too hungry, or perhaps he was distracted, but he couldn't think of food. No need to go to the base. Fly back directly. Shen Yan ordered. His fingers rhythmically tapped on his legs, and he stared at the mercenaries thoughtfully. The plane took off. It was a small plane, and the roar was very loud. Lu Shuang didn't sleep well at night. He leaned against the wall of the plane and fell asleep in a short while. When she woke up, she was already in a warm bed. She got up and found that Shen Yan was not by her side. She went to the bathroom to take a shower and put on fresh clothes. Hua Zixing was at home. She smiled at her. Thank you for the drill. You didn't wake up no matter how I called you. You must be hungry. I'll get the kitchen to prepare some snacks for you. Oh, what time is it? The more I sleep, the more I want to sleep. The more I sleep, the more I can't get out of bed. Lu Shuang scratched his head in embarrassment. It's 2 in the afternoon. Let's eat something first. Hua Zixing said gently and instructed Nan Gongyu beside her. Get the kitchen to heat up the food. Where's Shen Yan? Lu Shuang looked around and didn't see Shen Yan. He should be at work at this time. Normally, he would only be back at 6 or 7 at night. This time, he caught 2 mercenaries. I heard that they wanted to assassinate you. Are you okay? Hua Zixing asked with concern. Lu Shuang shook his head. I'm fine, but Zhu Jiang is injured. I haven't asked Shen Yan how he is now. Eat in peace. When Yan comes back, you can ask him. If there's anything, you can look for me. I'm on the 3rd floor. Hua Zixing said with a smile. She turned around and walked to the 3rd floor. She lowered her face and a cold gaze flashed across her eyes. She arranged the flowers several times but was not satisfied. She took out all the flowers and hit the table hard. The petals scattered all over the floor. She took a deep breath and looked ahead coldly. After adjusting her emotions, she threw the flowers into the trash can. She used a broom to sweep the petals on the table and floor clean and threw them into the trash can. In the room, she tied the trash bag in a knot. Nan Gongyu came in and saw her changing the trash bag. She walked over worriedly. You sent people to assassinate him, right? You still can't hold it in. Hello everyone. I'm Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 626. Hua Zixing smiled at Nan Gongyu and stood up. She placed her hands in front of her abdomen and maintained her elegance. She said softly, What do you think about my appearance compared to Lu Shuang? Lu Shuang is at most beautiful and makes people feel comfortable just by looking at her. You, on the other hand, are stunning. Even your younger sister is not as outstanding as you in terms of appearance and temperament. If it wasn't for the fact that you've been living in America for a long time, the title of America's #1 socialite would have been you instead of Hua Rui. Nan Gongyu looked at her with pity. Then what do you think about my figure and temperament compared to Lu Shuang? Hua Zixing asked again. The 2 of you have similar figures. She's slightly fatter and taller than you. In terms of personality, she's straightforward. It's obvious that she grew up in a carefree environment. She's a little naive, a little romantic, a little willful, a little friendly, and a little easygoing. She makes people feel comfortable and natural around her. However, there are a lot of girls like you on the streets. As for you, you have a gentle temperament, are brave and resourceful, know when to advance and when to retreat. You are considerate, magnanimous, mature, wise and decisive. You are the kind of wife that men want to marry. In terms of background, I am the eldest daughter of the biggest family in America. Although I am not as noble as the princess, I am only slightly inferior. As for Lu Shuang, she was only born in a well-off family. I don't understand. How am I inferior to her? Hua Zixing said delicately. Even when she was angry, she was as gentle as water. That kind of forbearance, that kind of strength, not to mention men, even women would feel sorry for her. You can't give men what they want. After all, for men, being able to eat is more practical than being able to see. Nan Gongyu said in a low voice. I can do it now. It's just that giving birth will be dangerous. But I can find someone to do it for me. Now that medicine is so advanced, I can just take out the eggs, right? Hua Zixing said with reddened eyes. She lowered her eyes, looking gentle and weak. She clenched her fists tightly because of her fair skin and neck. Because of her fair skin, the veins on her neck were clearly visible. Nan Gongyu touched her head tenderly and said softly, But Shen Yan doesn't know? He thinks you can't. Hua Zixing raised her head and looked at Nan Gongyu pitifully. Right now, Shen Yan's heart is filled with Lu Shuang. If I say that I can, not only will he not have sex with me, he will also stay far away from me. I know him too well. Nan Gongyu fell silent for a moment. She looked at Hua Zixing with a profound gaze and asked, Azi, do you really like him? Tears the size of soybeans rolled down Hua Zixing's cheeks. My family can't do without him, and there's only a year left until the agreement between us expires. I'm worried that he'll abandon me and marry Lu Shuang. After that, I don't know. Where should I go? I'll become the sinner of the family. Don't worry about that. I just want to know, do you really like him? Nan Gongyu continued to ask. Hua Zixing shook her head. I don't know, I really don't know, Xiaoyu, I've never thought about this before. Back then, when I married him, other than relying on power, it was also because he didn't mind that I couldn't sleep with a man. On this point, I reached an agreement with him, so he didn't marry the princess. We reached an agreement on this point, so he didn't marry a princess. Instead, he married me. I thought that I would treat him like a guest for the rest of my life. I also enjoyed the life of being the president's wife. Power, glory, and companionship. I liked to stand by his side and fight alongside him. He was a very supportive and safe ally. Until a hint of viciousness flashed in Hua Zixing's eyes, hidden in her pain. She continued, I discovered Lu Shuang's existence. Shan Yan raised her in the side courtyard and often went to see her. After I found out, he told me that she was the woman he truly wanted to marry in the future. They even had a son. I was worried that she would destroy the balance between me and Shan Yan. So, half a year ago, I instigated Madame Yao. Madame Yao went back and instigated Colonel Yao. Colonel Yao ordered his invisible subordinates to assassinate Lu Shuang. But she was very lucky. She actually came back alive and even caused Colonel Yao to die under military law. Did you appear directly for the assassination? Nan Gongyu asked worriedly, looking at Hua Zixing's expression. I didn't. But I called Colonel Tang directly and hinted that Lu Shuang was a demon who could bring disaster to the country and the people. He should have seen through my thoughts, so he sent mercenaries to assassinate Lu Shuang. Now that Shan Yan has captured the mercenaries, with his wealth and intelligence, he will be able to find out that it was Colonel Tang. I'm worried that Colonel Tang will expose me. Then, I will definitely be finished. Hua Zixing sat down on the chair dispiritedly. She held her forehead and sighed. Nan Gongyu squatted down in front of Hua Zixing and held her ice-cold hand. She looked at her gently. If he finds out, I'll take you away. We'll go to a place where no one knows us. We'll definitely be happy there. What about my family? I will become a sinner in my family, Hua Zixing said with tears in her eyes. You have already shouldered too much for your family. You don't think about your family at all. That's enough, isn't it? You should think about yourself. Nan Gongyu eyes were also red. Or, have you already fallen in love with Shen Yan? Hua Zixing remained silent and closed her eyes. Her tears flowed even more fiercely. I don't know. I don't understand. I thought I was heartless and loveless, but I'm jealous of Lu Shuang. I'm very jealous. Shan Yan is in her room every night. I can hear their laughter. Shan Yan has never smiled at me like this. He had never smiled at me before, nor had he ever treated me with such gentleness and love. However, he had a doting smile on Lu Shuangchuan. She can sleep until noon every day and then go back to sleep. She can do nothing but play on the computer in her room every day. But, even if she is a good-for-nothing, Shen Yan still loves her so much. I don't understand. Am I going to lose because I'm not a good-for-nothing? Hua Zixing was a little emotional, but her expression was still not ferocious. However, Her crying was even more heartbreaking. A beauty. She was so beautiful even when she was crying. After sobbing for a while, she calmed down and looked at Nan Gongyu. I am greedy for my current power. I want to stay by his side. I don't know if this is love. I don't understand. Nan Gongyu understood. Hua Zixing had fallen in love with Shen Yan. Moreover, it was deep and unknowingly. Chapter 627. Hua Zixing lifted her head and looked at Nan Gongyu with teary eyes. I can't let Colonel Tang betray me. He has to die before Shen Yan interrogates him. I'll do it now. Calm down and don't let Shen Yan see through you. He's too smart, Nan Gongyu instructed. Xiaoyu, be careful. If you die, I won't be able to live either, Hua Zixing reminded her. Nan Gongyu nodded and disappeared from the president's residence. Lu Shuang was full after eating the snacks. When she returned to her room, she wondered if she should meet Bai Ya. But when she thought of her mother and Bai Ya's betrayal, she felt a knot in her heart. The more you cared about someone, the more you didn't want to forgive them easily. That was human nature. No matter how he thought about it, it was too irritating. He decided to play the game. After playing for a while, he felt a strong sense of guilt in his heart. Shen Yan was busy with her matters, but she was playing games without a care in the world. She had come back to China with the intention of taking revenge, but in the end, she just followed Shen Yan around all day and did nothing. She felt that she had no sense of responsibility and value. Was she going to follow Shen Yan around for the rest of her life? She looked at her tummy. It had only been a few days since she came back. She had finally gotten so skinny, but now she was getting fat again. She sighed and stopped playing games. She left the room and went to the third floor. Hua Zixing was in the middle of an illustration. Her silhouette looked especially picturesque. Lu Shuang knocked on the door. Hua Zixing turned her head and looked at Lu Shuang. She smiled gently. I've arranged a few pots of flowers, but I'm not satisfied with them. Can you help me take a look and see if I need to make any adjustments? Lu Shuang walked to Hua Zixing and glanced at the flowers on the table. I don't know much about flower arrangement, and I don't have any sense of aesthetics. I'm sorry. It's okay. It depends on the person. Some people think it looks good, while others don't. What's the matter? Hua Zixing continued to arrange her flowers. Lu Shuang thought for a moment. Did you go to the orphanage? Hua Zixing smiled and said, Not yet, I'm waiting for Yi Yan. I think it'll be tomorrow or the day after. I'll wait for Yi Yan to come back and discuss before making a decision. What are you going to do in the orphanage? Lu Shuang asked. Give the children food and school bags, then see what they need and add some resources. The plan is to visit 10 orphanages and 10 nursing homes. You should know the specific itinerary. Yi Yan has a meeting this time. After the meeting, there will be a big move. Hua Zixing explained. Said. Oh, what do you usually do? Lu Shuang asked tentatively. She felt that Hua Zixing was perfect. She wanted to learn as much as she could. She did not waste Shen Yan's kindness to her. As long as there was improvement, it was fine. She had tried her best. A look of disdain flashed across Hua Zixing's eyes. That kind of woman was thousands of miles away from her. What was the point of learning from her? Shen Yan liked her. She felt that it was unfair, indignant, and unimaginable. But she hid it well. She smiled and said patiently, I'm in the cabinet in the morning. I'll follow the schedule of the cabinet meeting. When I'm free, I'll arrange flowers, listen to music, read books, and so on. What about you? What do you usually do? Me. I play games and read books. I don't have a job at the moment, so most of my time is spent playing games. Hee hee. Lu Shuang smiled embarrassedly. What books do you read? Hua Zixing asked casually. Romance, urban, CEO, fantasy, and ancient literature. But I don't read much. I'm impetuous and can't calm down to read. Hua Zixing paused. She only read finance, politics, history, and romance. The more she interacted with Lu Shuang, the more she realized the gap between them. She really did not understand why Shen Yan liked her. You and Yi Yan used to be classmates. Both of you did well in school, right? Hua Zixing smiled. She was actually testing him. In fact, she was jealous that Lu Shuang was Shen Yan's classmate. Shen Yan was so perfect. He should not have such a classmate. I'm okay. He's a bad student. He's the last one. She was quite proud of this. But Shen Yan was not a bad student. He was just rebellious. He often handed in blank papers and did not want to take the exams. But he did take the exams a few times. He was first in his year, but she did not want to say it. No way. He doesn't look like a bad student. Hua Zixing was shocked. Shen Yan was perfect in her heart. It's true. He's different when he was young. He even had a runny nose. This started after the summer camp. She had a fever. Shen Yan came to her and said that the ghost story was made up to scare her. She was so angry that she exploded. How could there be such a bad person in the world? All right, she was not a good person either. So, she prepared a big bucket of ice water and poured it all on Shen Yan when he was not paying attention. She still remembered that Shen Yan was not angry at all. He smiled and said, I had a fever with you. Don't be angry anymore, right? In the end, he did not have a fever. He caught a cold and had a runny nose. During those days, her mood was super good. Cough, cough. You were the campus belle back then, right? Hua Zixing asked casually. Although she did not think that Lu Shuang could be the campus belle with his looks, many children were very unsophisticated. Some of them came from well-to-do families. If they dressed up prettily, they would easily become a joke. Hee. Lu Shuang scratched his head. I'm more like a joke. I ate a little too much during puberty. So, it was a little tragic. Hua Zixing. She smiled awkwardly. Sounds like a story with a lot of love. There was no love. I didn't get along with him when we were young. He was a little tyrant, the kind who always bullied people, Shen Yan explained. Then you must have a strong sense of justice. Happy quarrelsome. Thinking about it, I think you two are a good match. Hua Zixing's eyes curved into crescents as she smiled sweetly. Not really. I didn't have much sense of justice when I was young. I bullied the weak and feared the strong. I never provoked him. When I saw him, the first thing I did was run far away. Unless he bullied me, I would bully him back. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Actually, Lu Shuang had forgotten a lot of things when he was young. However, Shen Yan was too flamboyant and often bullied her. It left a deep impression in her mind. She even remembered the details. Hua Zixing. She could not understand why Shen Yan would like Lu Shuang. The two of them were completely different people. Whether it was in terms of temperament, self-restraint, knowledge, ability or background, they were worlds apart. Chapter 628. But I can tell that he likes you a lot, Hua Zixing said with a smile after a momentary daze. Lu Shuang pointed at her head and said in disdain, he either has a bad brain or bad taste. Hua Zixing laughed. You're humorous. That's your greatest strength. If humorous is considered a strength, then that's my second greatest strength, Lu Shuang said thoughtfully. What's your first greatest strength? Hua Zixing asked curiously as she put down the flowers in her hand. Lu Shuang shrugged. You're just lazy. Hua Zixing laughed so hard that she was about to cry. She held her stomach and said, You're too funny. Lu Shuang sighed. How could she say that she wasn't joking? Go ahead. I'm going to take a walk downstairs. I won't disturb you anymore. Lu Shuang didn't know what else to say to Hua Zixing. After all, the two of them weren't familiar with each other. She also realized that although Hua Zixing had a good temper and spoke with high EQ, there was still a barrier between them. This barrier seemed to separate the two of them into two different worlds. She didn't realize this when it came to Shen Yan. Did this mean that Shen Yan was more approachable? She walked towards the door. Remember to wear more clothes. It's cold outside, Hua Zixing reminded her. Lu Shuang nodded and went back to her room. She put on a down jacket and went out for some fresh air. She didn't know what she could learn from Hua Zixing. She wasn't interested in arranging flowers. She could pick flowers. She could read books too. Why was there such a big difference? In her heart, there was a perfect goddess, and that was Bai Ya. She thought about it. Other than reading, Baiya knew what she wanted. She was rational, steady, and knew how to do housework. She didn't know how to do housework and didn't know what she wanted. She wasn't rational or steady. No matter how she thought about it, she felt that she was useless. Helpless, she walked to the lakeside, picked up a handful of stones and threw them into the water. She watched as the water rippled. The sun was about to set, and the sky was bright red. The reflection on the surface of the lake had a tinge of green and a tinge of red. It was especially beautiful. Woof woof. Lu Shuang heard a dog barking. He turned his head and saw a very small dog not far away. It was very small, fluffy, white, and had round eyes. It was only the size of a palm. She walked over and picked up the puppy. Wow, what a small puppy. Is it a teacup puppy? Why are you here? Didn't you see me? Shen Yan said helplessly and walked to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was surprised. When did you come? I really didn't see you. I've been here for a while. You're in a daze. What are you thinking about? You rarely use your brain, Shen Yan said bluntly. She rolled her eyes at him. Will you die if you don't tell me? Don't bother me today. I don't know why I'm not in a good mood. I'm thinking about life. Come, I'll enlighten you. Otherwise, with your blockhead, you won't get any results tomorrow. He sat on the armrest of the wooden chair beside her. Lu Shuang patted the puppy's head and looked at Shen Yan in confusion. Do you think I'm useless? Shen Yan nodded. I don't think so. You are. Lu Shuang rolled his eyes again. If I'm useless, why are you keeping me? Recycling trash. I like to challenge the impossible. Get lost. Birds of a feather flock together. If I'm useless, you're not far from useless. I'm such a confident person, but I've lost my confidence because of you. Are you happy that I'm not confident? Lu Shuang felt a little uncomfortable. She thought that she might really have an inferiority complex. Shen Yan saw that Lu Shuang's eyes were red and knew that she had made a joke. She said helplessly, That's why I want you to stay by my side. I'm so smart. If you're with me, you'll become smarter day by day. Lu Shuang had a strange feeling in her heart. She glanced at his peerlessly elegant face. Shen Yan, why do you like me? Shen Yan shrugged. I think I'm too perfect. Heaven is jealous of me. You're not perfect, so I'm just a burden. Seriously. Lu Shuang was about to get angry. He frowned. Sigh. Shen Yan stood up and looked at Lu Shuang, who was about to explode. I don't need a reason to like you. I've liked you for more than 10 years. If there's a reason, it's that once I've decided on someone, I won't change. Who asked you to seduce me when I was young? Me. His words instantly calmed her raging heart. Even her tone became gentler. How did I seduce you? You wore my shirt on purpose and didn't wear any clothes inside, didn't you? How old were you then? You already knew how to seduce men? Shen Yan poked her head. Lu Shuang could not cover his forehead because he was holding the puppy. He took a step back. How did I do that? I didn't notice. I was still young then. I didn't think too much. Shen Yan smiled. So it's fate. Maybe it was a freak accident. Anyway, I'm already in the wrong. I'm a person. Even if I'm in the wrong, I'll continue on as if I'm in the right. He was very similar to her in this aspect. She was also the kind of person who would continue on as if she was in the right even if she was in the wrong. She calmed down. Lowering her head, she looked at the puppy in her hands and asked, Why did you think of buying a puppy? During the meeting today we talked about Baiya. We also talked about Baiya's dog. You seemed to like dogs in the past, so I bought it. It can keep you company when you're bored, lest you let your imagination run wild all day. Shen Yan said as she stroked the puppy's head. Her fingers touched her hand from time to time, as if he was stroking her hand and treating her like a little animal. Lu Shuang paused. He was obviously teasing her. If it were any other time, he would definitely be angry. However, she could hear his concern in his teasing. He remembered that she liked dogs. He knew that she was bored and guessed that she would let her imagination run wild. Perhaps it was because her attitude toward him had changed a little. She actually felt touched. Why did you talk about Baiya? Lu Shuang asked. Baya opened a website and hired some reporters. In the future, there will be a disciplinary officer in the officialdom. She is a person who doesn't exist in politics, but many people are terrified of her. Therefore, many people are afraid of her, and even her dog. Shan Yen said with a smile. You won't deal with her, will you? Lu Shuang was vaguely worried. Shan Yen scratched her nose. Don't worry. For your sake, I'll protect her. After all, she is the person who really cares about you. A layer of moisture appeared in Lu Shuang's eyes. He was originally an emotional person. She found that Shan Yen was good to her. Her brain twitched and she said, I'll take off the ring and give you another child. Hello, everyone. I'm Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 629. Shan Yen's eyes were filled with excitement. She leaned over, lifted her chin, and kissed her lips. Lu Shuang regretted saying that. She felt that she was too impulsive and should have thought about it. However, when she saw how excited Shan Yen was, there was a soft feeling in her heart, as if something was melting. She didn't know how to do anything, but she could give birth. She was pregnant after having sex with Shan Yen for one night. She was in good health, so Debao didn't get sick very often. It seemed that her role was to give birth to children for Shan Yen. However, when she thought about it, she didn't want to become a tool for giving birth. She took a step back, and when she saw Shan Yen smile, she swallowed the words that she wanted to change. Shuang, I'm very happy. You are finally not a stone. Shan Yen raised the corner of his mouth, and the crystal light shone in his beautiful eyes, making him look extremely handsome. Lu Shuang blinked. Even if I am a stone, I can give birth to a son Wukong. What's the hurry? Shan Yen knocked her on the head. What son Wukong? I am not a monkey. Don't talk nonsense. Lu Shuang knocked him on the head. You said that I was a stone first. Shan Yen put his arm around her shoulder, pulled her into his arms, and looked at her happily. Didn't you say that you are not a stone now? Yes. Lu Shuang responded, and her face was slightly red. She felt that she was a little pretentious and not like herself. She cleared her throat, lowered her head, and looked at the teacup puppy in her hand. She changed her mind and said, It is so obedient. It doesn't balk anymore. What is it called? Huji bear. A teacup puppy. When it grows up, it is the size of 2 palms. Shan Yen explained. It is so cute. Lu Shuang leaned her face against the puppy and rubbed its soft fur. What should I call it? Stone. How about a stone? I already have a rock like you. How tiring would it be for me to have another rock? I'll call you Big Bear, Shan Yen said softly. Lu Shuang laughed. You call such a small Huji bear a big bear? Where's your IQ? What a joke. This is my wish for him. Shan Yen stroked the dog's head. Lu Shuang turned around and did not let him touch it. Are you stupid? This breed is precious when it's small. When it's big, it's not precious anymore. My little bear doesn't grow big. That's why it's so cute. Shan Yen hugged her from behind and looked at the puppy. How can it be yours? It's mine. He had to get close to her to make her feel hot. She felt that if this went on, she would become a hungry wolf. Returning to the topic, she asked, Do you know who the person behind this is? Yes, I'll show you a photo. Shan Yen took out her phone and passed it to Lu Shuang. Is it him? Lu Shuang stretched out his head and widened his eyes. It's him. I told you that the clothes he wears are invisible. I didn't lie to you, right? Who is he? He is not an invisible person, but he is related to them. He is Old Tang's adopted son, Shan Yen said. Old Tang? Is he an invisible person? Yes, he is one of the company commanders. I've investigated. The others have nothing to do with this matter. He should be the only one. Then. Lu Shuang wanted to say something but stopped. Are you going to? Don't worry. Since he killed your mother, he should be responsible for it. I will give you an explanation. I will give him a mission soon. It's a narrow escape, so he died honorably, Shan Yen said. Died honorably? My mother didn't die honorably either. She died in a miserable way. I don't like him. Why did he kill me for no reason? Lu Shuang said softly and lowered his head. He was just talking to himself. He didn't want to put Shen Yan in a difficult position. Okay, let him die less honorably, Shen Yan agreed. Lu Shuang looked up at him in shock. She didn't expect him to agree to this. Will it affect you? My woman can't even do this. How can I be your man? You don't have to think too much about it. Just leave it to me, Shen Yan said and took the teacup puppy from Lu Shuang's hand. The teacup puppy barked at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang recovered from the shock. Didn't you say you would give it to me? Shen Yan put the dog on the ground. The seller told me not to hold this kind of dog in your hands all the time. They will get used to not moving and die quickly. Let it follow us. Oh, Lu Shuang replied. She wasn't an unreasonable person. Shen Yan smiled at her, held her hand and walked forward. Lu Shuang looked behind him worriedly. The teacup puppy was following them. Lu Shuang laughed. This dog is so smart. It knows how to follow people. To be exact, it knows how to follow me. Do you think everyone is like you? Shen Yan said with drooping eyes. Lu Shuang made an X with his hands. Are you done? You are the father dog and it is the baby dog. Of course it will follow you. You mean you are the son of a dog? President, where's your integrity? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Shen Yan smiled. I'm sorry. Birds of a feather flock together. I've been led astray by you. Don't you have any shame? She walked in front quickly. Shen Yan smiled and followed behind her. He was in a good mood because of what she said. She was willing to give birth to his child. Did this mean that she had truly accepted him? Lu Shuang entered the house first. Her face was flushed red from the hot air. She took off her outer clothes and hung them on the clothes rack. Shen Yan walked in and took off her coat. Where's De Xiong? Lu Shuang looked behind him. There was no puppy. He looked outside and there was no puppy. He looked at Shen Yan's arms again. There was no puppy. He asked again, where's De Xiong? He's as stupid as you. He probably lost him. Shen Yan walked upstairs indifferently. Lu Shuang was a little annoyed. If he lost him, why don't you bring him back? Where's your love? Shen Yan was not angry at all. She turned around and looked at her. Idiot. He's in my pocket. Come up quickly. Lu Shuang looked at his pocket. Indeed, the puppy's white head was peeking out and looking at her. Lu Shuang sighed. Shen Yan had to bully her every day. What happened to liking him? She followed him upstairs with her head drooping. Hua Zixing also heard Shen Yan's voice. She came down from the third floor and looked at Shen Yan's pocket. She smiled in surprise. Is that a puppy? It's so small and cute. Yeah, I bought a teacup puppy. Sometimes Lu Shuang gets bored at home. Does she have her lunch late? Hua Zixing gently stroked the puppy in Shen Yan's pocket and said softly, she only had her lunch at 2 in the afternoon. Should I move her dinner later? Chapter 630. Jealousy flashed across Hua Zixing's eyes. Shen Yan was always thinking about Lu Shuang. He even considered that she would be late for dinner. The better he treated Lu Shuang, the more she wanted him. If she could get Shen Yan's love, Shen Yan would treat her as well as Lu Shuang. She was no worse than Lu Shuang. She should be able to do it. Anyway, she was his wife. If she didn't want a divorce, no one could force her. If she had time, she would have a chance. But this jealousy disappeared in a flash. She couldn't let him find out. Okay. Is the itinerary ready? When are we going to the orphanage? Hua Zixing asked in a businesslike manner. Her voice sounded a little stiff. Shen Yan frowned. Suspicion flashed across his eyes. Call Secretary Jiang and ask for it. Just follow his itinerary. I'll have to trouble you for the time being. After Shen Yan finished speaking, he ignored Hua Zixing and walked towards the room. Lu Shuang didn't know what to say to Hua Zixing. So he didn't say anything and walked past her. Lu Shuang. Hua Zixing stopped Lu Shuang. Ah. Lu Shuang turned to look at her. You can come with us when we go to the orphanage. Hua Zixing invited him. Thank you. She also wanted to go. She could learn more from Hua Zixing when the time came. Shani Yan was so nice to her. All she could do was do what he wanted. Baya had said that this was the right way to love someone. Love. Lu Shuang was trembling with fear. She just felt that she liked him a little and now she was in love. Hua Zixing smiled. Of course. Let's go up. He must be anxious. Lu Shuang blushed. He nodded and walked towards Shani Yan's room. He wasn't in his room. The puppy was biting on a disposable teacup, pretending to be fierce. It looked so cute. Lu Shuang's heart softened and he wanted to hug the puppy. Shani Yan's voice came from her room. You haven't leveled up even after such a long time? I'm not playing. Lu Shuang said. When he saw that his computer was on, he corrected himself. I just played for a while. Didn't I tell you? I'm thinking about life. Shani Yan sat on her bed with her elbows propped on the bed. She smiled at her eyes sparkling like the dazzling stars on a lake in winter. Lu Shuang was embarrassed by his stare, and his heart was beating fast. This evildoer was extremely sexy with just a casual stroll. His body was filled with male hormones. She recalled the time on the steamer, and the details flashed through her mind. She cleared her throat. Why are you looking at me? Come here, Shani Yan shouted. According to Lu Shuang's usual personality, if he asked her to go over, she would lose face. But at this moment, she seemed to be bewitched by him. She shouldn't have gone to the drill with him. During the drill, he was full of wildness. It was the manly feeling that she had always liked. He was so handsome that she was mesmerized. But if she didn't go to the drill and be the bait, she wouldn't be able to find the person who killed her mother. She walked towards him. Shani Yan held her hand and squeezed it. Have you thought it through? To me, what I need is not a perfect person who can be the president's wife, but a wife. I want to be the president for the sake of my family, and I want to be your man for the sake of myself. I want to be a selfish person. Can you help me? Lu Shuang looked at Shani Yan and frowned. Shani Yan, do you know how to read minds? Otherwise, how would you know what I'm thinking? Shani Yan pulled her into his arms. Your intestines are straight, and you show all your thoughts on your face. I'm glad that you're finally willing to think. No matter how Lu Shuang heard it, he seemed to be looking down on her. Feelings. Do you think that I usually don't think? Before this, you thought that you would leave after you took revenge. You never thought that you weren't suitable for the position of the president's wife, because you didn't care about the position at all, and you didn't think that you would do it. What you thought was that you wanted freedom to stay away from me. But now you're thinking about it. As long as you think about it, it means that you want to be the president's wife. You don't care about these statuses, that's because you care about me, and you want to stay by my side. Shani Yan looked at her affectionately. Lu Shuang felt that he knew her better than she did. It seemed that he had hit the nail on the head. Shani Yan, I can consider staying by your side, but can you not read my mind? I feel that I don't have any secrets in front of you. This makes me very unhappy. Shani Yan's smile widened. It's easy to feel good. He turned around and pressed her down on the bed. He looked at her and placed his hand on her stomach. When are you going to remove the ring? After I get pregnant, will others suspect you? Lu Shuang was a little worried that it would affect his reputation. Leave it to me. You just have to give birth to my child in peace, Shani Yan said softly and kissed her on the lips. It was very gentle and tender. Lu Shuang looked at him as if the sun and moon had lost their brilliance. To be honest, although she had done it with him in the past, she was actually still resistant in her heart. Although she was shrewd, spoke carelessly, and was sometimes very open, in fact, she was conservative. So until now, she had only had one man, Shani Yan. But now, she seemed to be willing. Her heart was wet. It was just a kiss, but she felt an electric current running through her body. She swallowed her saliva and said, Don't be like last time. You don't like last time? His voice was a little ambiguous. That was too. I'm not a masochist, Lu Shuang said uncomfortably. Xiao Shuang, that wasn't abuse. It was fun. I won't hurt you. You did it 4 or 5 times last time, right? The more Shani Yan said, the more embarrassed she felt. Stop talking. Big Bear is still outside. It can't hear us. There are only the 2 of us here. Are you shy? Shen Yan's voice was a little husky and full of charm. Why would I be shy? You know I'm very thick-skinned. She didn't want to admit it. Ha! Shen Yan chuckled. So you know you're thick-skinned too. You're so thick-skinned that you can't even see red. Shen Yan pinched her face and sat up. Come here, I'll play with you for a while. Lu Shuang also sat up and peeked at him. Shen Yan pursed his lips and smiled. You want it? Who wants it? Let's play. Watch how I crush you. Lu Shuang sat next to him. Knock. 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 There was a knock on the door. Lu Shuang looked at the door. I'll go and open the door. She opened the door. Chapter 631. Ian, something happened to Minister Zhang from the Ministry of Education, Hua Zixing said. Him? What happened? Shen Yan was very calm and looked at Hua Zixing calmly. In the past 2 days, Minister Zhang had embezzled 67 million and used 2 women. According to the normal procedure, Minister Zhang would be kicked out of politics and thrown into prison next week. Minister Zhang was just found dead in his room. I don't think he committed suicide. His head was separated from his body, but his face was slashed 18 times. His eyes were blinded, and he had symptoms of suffocation. There was a piece of paper in his mouth, and on it was written, "This secret will disappear." His hands were tied and he fell to the ground. If it was him, he wouldn't be able to do it. The problem is that the room is a secret room, and no one can get in, Hua Zixing said in horror. About this, I think we can look for Bai Ya. Bai Ya is an expert in psychology, especially in criminal psychology, Lu Shuang blurted out. Shen Yan looked at Lu Shuang. After Lu Shuang said that, he also felt that he was being rude. He glanced at Shen Yan, and the two of them looked at each other. Shen Yan smiled. He knew Lu Shuang too well. Lu Shuang was actually a person who didn't get angry easily. He was too carefree, and it was rare for him to be angry with Bai Ya for such a long time. Hua Zixing looked at the eye contact between the two of them. She smiled and clenched her fists. She was jealous of the tacit understanding between them, hated that their hearts were connected, and wanted Shen Yan's love. Has the news been blocked? Shen Yan asked her. Hua Zixing came back to her senses and felt a little uncomfortable. She lowered her eyes and said gently, It's been blocked. Secretariat Jiang wanted to inform you, but I called him, and he asked me to pass the message to you. I trust him. Let's go to the Zhang family first. Call Bureau Chief Zhao. I'll call Bai Ya. Also, call Leng Qiuzuan. He's an expert in solving cases. Zidan, you stay at home. The two of us will be too big of a target. Lu Shuang, you follow us. Shen Yan said concisely. Hua Zixing frowned. Are you sure you want to call Bai Ya? Bai Ya is now in the limelight. If she participates, I'm afraid it will cause even greater public opinion. She is indeed in the limelight. In other words, she is the fuse for Minister Zhang's death. However, she is also the least likely person to kill Minister Zhang, Shen Yan said in a low voice. But what about Lady Zhang? Lady Zhang is a little shrewish, and she hates Bai Ya. If Bai Ya goes, I'm afraid there will be more problems. Bai Ya's personality isn't that easy to bully. Perhaps, we can see another good show. It's decided, Shen Yan said in a strong tone. No one could refute him. Hua Zixing didn't say anything else. She nodded. I'll be at home. If you have any other orders, you can call me immediately. Lu Shuang, get dressed and let's go, Shen Yan said. Lu Shuang thought about the identity of his assistant. He chose a suit and put it on. It was a little cold outside, so he put on a thick windbreaker. Hua Zixing smiled and went forward to help Lu Shuang adjust his collar. She felt uncomfortable letting Hua Zixing help her. She smiled and said, Thank you. You're actually older than me. You don't have to thank me. Put on a scarf before you go out. It's cold outside, Hua Zixing instructed. I'll buy a few heat pads on the way. That way, I won't feel cold. Lu Shuang said with a smile. She took a scarf and went out. She felt more at ease being with Shen Yan. Shen Yan also changed his clothes. He was wearing a black suit, a white shirt, a camel-colored windbreaker, and black leather gloves. He looked dignified but didn't lose the elegance of royalty. This guy. Those who didn't know him would definitely be tempted by his handsome appearance. That smile of his was alluring. She blushed slightly. Feeling that she was being a little pretentious, she cleared her throat and walked behind him. Shen Yan looked at her deeply. Lu Shuang couldn't tell what he was looking at and he didn't say anything. She pushed him hard and widened her eyes. Why are you looking at me like that? Why is your face so red? Shen Yan asked with a mischievous smile. Lu Shuang rolled her eyes. I'm healthy and full of energy. Can't I? Do you want me to face you with a pale face? He, you must have a guilty conscience, Shen Yan said as if she knew what he was thinking. Yeah, I have a guilty conscience. Be careful, in case you die in the middle of the night. Lu Shuang was stubborn and didn't want to admit that he was the reason why she was blushing. Shen Yan pinched the flesh on her face. Who is this woman? She's so glib. Instantly, Lu Shuang's thoughts went astray. She paused for a moment and stared at him with a strange gaze. Shen Yan knew what she was thinking when he saw her gaze. He knocked her head. You still need to practice your glib tongue. You're not familiar with it and it's easy for you to knock your teeth. I'll give you a chance to practice it every day. Is that good for you? Lu Shuang didn't want to talk to him anymore. Thank you, but I don't need it. With my skills, I'm already able to dominate the world. Where did you get the world from? Shen Yan asked slowly. She really didn't want to talk to him anymore. He was openly looking down on her. Thinking of her, Lu Shuang, when she was in the chicken coop, she was considered to be unique in her own way. She had many pursuers and was brimming with confidence. But when she came to this group of Phoenix coop, she was really so ugly that she stood out from the rest. She ignored him and walked out. Shen Yan followed behind her happily. Hey, your minister is dead. Is it appropriate for you to be so happy? Lu Shuang didn't hold back. Colonel Cheng drove over and stopped in front of Shen Yan. I'll tell you in the car, Shen Yan said. She sat in the back seat and adjusted her clothes. Lu Shuang sat next to him. This guy had long legs and a domineering sitting posture. He took up more than half of the seat. Actually, she was a little domineering. After they got into the car, she purposely squeezed him to the side. Shen Yan wasn't angry at all. He put his arm around her shoulder happily and tapped her nose. You can't wait. I can't wait to meet your grandfather. Lu Shuang gave him some space. My grandfather is dead. Even if he's still alive, he's too old and not suitable for you. It's more suitable for you to be impatient, Shen Yan said with a smile. Lu Shuang was defeated by him. This guy had been suppressing her since they were in primary school. He was so eloquent. Was it a necessary skill for a president? You said we'll talk in the car. What are you talking about? Lu Shuang changed the topic. Actually, he didn't care. Hello, everyone. I'm Qin Tang Tang. You can follow me on WeChat. Chapter 632. Minister Zhang was a member of Zhuachuani. His death caused a lot of problems, Shen Yan said briefly. And then? A triangle is the most stable relationship. Of course, it also depends on the balance of power. Gu Lingqing, Shang Dongqing, and Zhuachuani are the three giants, followed by Su Zhang, Lin Shutong, and the Xing family. After Gu Lingqing's death, the morale of his side was greatly affected. Lang Shuang didn't have the courage. After all, he wasn't like Gu Lingqing, who was born with the complicated relationships cultivated by Gu Tianhang, so he couldn't sit in the position of the three giants. Shang Dongqing was suppressed by Bai Ya and left his position. Although he still has some connections, he has been greatly damaged. Now only Zhuachuani is in the position of the three giants. Zhuachuani is the only one. If we don't suppress him and let him develop, he will be the next president in the next election. Shen Yan said seriously. He said solemnly with a cold glint in his eyes. After listening, Lu Shuang's heart also thumped. If the next president is not you, what will you do? How will the previous emperors treat their predecessors? When the ambition is still there, imprisonment is the most comfortable. After all, I am still in that position. For the people's livelihood and various international statuses, My life can be saved. But the forces behind me, their result, maybe death is the best for them. Death is the best for them, Xinyan said solemnly. Lu Shuang felt uncomfortable. He felt a chill when he thought of his fate of being imprisoned within the walls until his death. He was still so young, so talented. So scary. You shouldn't have been the president. Xinyan glanced at him. Don't forget that my father was the last president. If I didn't do it, those who worked hard for us would have long been dead. And my father's death is also to help and stabilize my position, so I can't let his death down. Lu Shuang's heart was heavy. Some things were complicated. The more complicated something was, the more confident she was that she wouldn't think about it. It would give her a headache. Xinyan held her hand. Now do you understand why I wanted to marry Hua Zixing? Actually, I've always wanted to marry you. Can I refuse? I don't like being imprisoned in a high wall, Lu Shuang said softly. Xinyan's gaze turned cold, as if it had become a vast expanse of desolation. If I fail, I will arrange for you to leave. Don't worry, I won't affect your freedom. He let go of her hand and looked ahead coldly with a long face. Seeing that he was angry, she felt very, very uncomfortable. She was worried, afraid, guilty, and sympathetic. She was used to being free and wild. Although her family was not as well off as Xinyan's, her parents treated her like a little princess. She had no responsibilities or burdens. She only needed to be happy as she pleased. She had never been restricted. She said that she wanted to move out. Although her mother couldn't bear to, she agreed. Trapping her in a high wall was equivalent to taking her life. When she first followed Xinyan, she couldn't bear it and wanted to escape. At that time, she wasn't restricted. Other than not being able to leave Xinyan's side, she could do whatever she wanted. But thinking of Xinyan being trapped in a high wall and dying alone, she felt that he was very pitiful. She tugged at his sleeve. Xinyan flung her hand away and looked ahead coldly. His face was livid with an unapproachable aura. But she wasn't a stranger. She was thick-skinned and poked Xinyan's arm. Are you angry? Xinyan ignored her. Xinyan, what are you angry about? With your rotten ability, how can you not be the president? I think you will be longer than your father. He is not as bad as you, Lu Shuang said with his head tilted. Xinyan finally had some reaction. She looked at him and said, Didn't you say that you wanted to give birth to my children? Why? Now you don't want to marry me? Lu Shuang's face turned red. Colonel Cheng was here. He really didn't think of Colonel Cheng as a human being. Times have changed. It's not like you don't know my personality. I have an idea every 3 days. 2 years later, I will have more than 200 ideas. I don't know what they will become. I'm looking forward to it. Don't take it too seriously, Lu Shuang said with a smile. Xinyan was still very serious. What do you want me to take seriously? Is it giving birth to my children or not wanting to marry me? Well. Lu Shuang's eyes darted around. Do you think it's inappropriate for us to talk about this in the car? Then where do you think it's appropriate to talk about this? On the bed? Xinyan was angry. Lu Shuang was annoyed by his questioning. Was there an end to it? He raised his voice and said, Giving birth is real. I can give Debeo a sister. Is that okay? Xinyan's eyes gradually softened. Sometimes, I really want to sew your mouth. Who knows when you will say something that makes me uncomfortable again? Why don't you say it when you are comfortable? Lu Shuang looked at him and provoked. Xinyan twitched the corner of his mouth. Yeah. After I sew it, I won't be able to experience the excellent skills you mentioned. Lu Shuang was speechless. Once again, she was sure that Xinyan really did not treat Colonel Cheng as a human being. How could he say such things in front of Colonel Cheng? She felt embarrassed and looked out of the window. The sky was starting to darken. Xinyan took the opportunity to call Bai Ya. Yes, Minister Zhang from the Ministry of Education is in trouble. Do you know about it? He's dead. Bai Ya guessed. I have temporarily blocked this news in case it causes unnecessary chaos. He is indeed dead. His head was separated from his body. His face was cut 18 times. His eyes were poked blind and there were signs of suffocation. The details will have to be confirmed by the forensic doctor. There was also a piece of paper in his mouth. On the paper it was written, "This secret will disappear. The secret will disappear." His hands were tied behind his back and he was lying on the ground. "The room is like a secret chamber," Xinyan said. "It's a bit like the previous case, but it's an upgrade. That kind of death can't be suicide. We are keeping the scene. Come and take a look." Investigating the scene is not my strength. My strength is in criminal psychology. Baiya rejected politely. "I will ask Leng Qiuzuan to come and cooperate with you. This case may involve Zhuochuani. I think the possibility of Zhuochuani killing someone is very high. Moreover, the motive is very likely to be unknown to us. Don't you want to bring him down? I think you are the most suitable person to do it. What do you think?" Shen Yan simply made it clear. Baiya was a smart person. There was no need to beat around the bush when talking to smart people. Chapter 633. The head of the Ministry of Education was murdered. It's expected. He knows too many secrets. Zhuochuani won't let him go to court. Xing Buhua and Shen Yan had the same opinion. His death is very special. Maybe we can find some clues this time. Baiya thought. You don't have to do it. There will be professionals. Shen Yan is using you as a tool. He wants to kill with a borrowed knife. And you are the knife in the open. Shen Yan wants to reshuffle the cards. Zhuochuani and Sheng Dongqing are birds of a feather. Shen Yan being the president is the safest for us. Even if I have to use a knife, I will kill the devil. That is our future. Baiya made up her mind. Xing Buhua looked at Baiya. He knew her character after spending so much time with her. No, he had known her for at least 5 years since she appeared in his dream. So, he knew her character very well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have impersonated Gu Lingqing. He was afraid that she would commit suicide. He smiled. "Leave the Ministry of Environment and the Health and Medical Department to me. When I have collected all the evidence, I will let your internet company do its best." "Okay, then I will go out for a while. I won't be back early today." Baiya said softly and stood up. Xing Buhua hugged her. He knew that she was going to leave. Even if it was not under her watch for a few hours, he would be reluctant. "I will wait here for you to come back. Take care of yourself. Your health and safety are the most important to me." Baiya nodded. "I will. Also, don't spread the news of Minister Zheng's death." Xing Buhua thought of something. His expression became serious. In the end, he didn't say it out loud. He just nodded. Baiya went to Minister Zheng's house accompanied by Lin Shulan and Zhang Xingyu. Minister Zheng's house was an independent villa located on a small mound. The so-called small mound was man-made. The house was surrounded by greenery, which surrounded the house in the middle. It was very hidden and very quiet. When she arrived, Leng Qiuzuan was already there. He went into the bedroom to investigate the scene. Shan Yan and Lu Shuang stayed in the living room. Other than them, Chief Zhao and Zhuochuani were also there. They were all talking to Lady Zheng. Regardless of whether the others were on the lookout or in the dark, they were all standing guard outside. As soon as Baiya walked in, her eyes met Lu Shuang's. Lu Shuang looked away awkwardly. Baiya sighed. She didn't have many friends, and there were even fewer people who could get close to her. Lu Shuang was one of them. She thought he was a friend and someone she owed. She walked towards Shen Yan and nodded. "I'll go in first then." Shen Yan nodded. Lady Zheng lowered her head. For a moment, she didn't see Baiya. Even if she saw her, she wouldn't know her. She knew someone called Baiya, but Baiya lived in seclusion and rarely showed her face. She had appeared at the meeting before, but only the executives had seen her. Not many of the wives of the executives had seen Baiya. Baiya asked Lin Shulan and Zhang Xingyu to stay outside. She walked into the bedroom. "Don't move around." Leng Qiuzuan felt someone coming in. He didn't even raise his head and said rudely. Baiya's lips twitched. He probably couldn't change his bad temper. "How can I observe if I don't move around? We're working together." Leng Qiuzuan recognized Baiya's voice. He looked up at her in surprise. "How dare you come here?" Baya squatted down beside him and put on her gloves. I've even dared to go to the lion's den, let alone this place. I'm the fairest person in the eyes of others. Did you find anything? The preliminary judgment is that the deceased was suffocating. The murderer went in and pressed him into the bathtub while he was bathing, causing his death. This method of murder prevented the deceased from making a sound, so it wouldn't attract the attention of Lady Zhang, who was working in the kitchen, Lang Qiuzuan said. Department head Zhang was bathing and Lady Zhang was working in the kitchen? Baya narrowed her eyes. They ate crabs today. During dinner, Department head Zhang accidentally spilled some soy sauce and vinegar on himself. It smelled a little fishy, so he went to bathe first, Lang Qiuzuan said. Department head Zhang was exposed for keeping beautiful women and embezzling money. The evidence is conclusive, but he still had the mood to eat crabs. Lady Zhang and Department head Zhang's breadth of mind is really impressive, Baya said in disdain. You mean to say that Madame Zhang could also be the murderer? What I mean is, they thought that this matter could be solved, so they relaxed. They had something on someone else, and they thought that this could help them get through this difficult situation. So they were angered and killed to silence them, Baya said coldly. You're saying that this secret will disappear? Then the murderer is too flamboyant. This murderer is flamboyant. He cut off the entire head with a knife. How sharp must the knife be? How strong must the strength be? I'm afraid there aren't many people with such arm strength. It's not something an ordinary person can do, Baya said as she examined the wound. Baya stood up and swept the bathroom, not letting go of any corner. Lang Qiuzuan stood behind her. What did you see? The clothes were newly changed. The tying, defrosting, and gouging out of the eyes were all intentional. How did you determine it? Lang Qiuzuan narrowed his eyes and asked. The cuts on Department head Zheng's face were clean and clean. It doesn't fit the characteristics of a psychopath. Psychopaths will enjoy the pleasure of cutting their face. The speed of their cuts is slow and the force is uniform. At the end, they might add more force, and the muscles will suffer more damage, forming wrinkles. But the cuts on Department head Zheng's face went from deep to shallow, and the muscles were almost undamaged. He purposely imitated the previous sensational case just to confuse us, Baya explained. A strange light flashed in Lang Qiuzuan's eyes. His reasoning was very strong, but Baya was a doctor in the past. In some aspects, he was indeed not as good as her. I solved the trap in the secret room. What about you? Lang Qiuzuan asked. Baya looked up at the ceiling of the bathroom. No one has been to the partition for a long time, so it should be covered in dust. If someone had been there, they should be able to see it immediately. After the murderer killed someone, he hid on top. Lady Zhang would also enter the room after washing the dishes. She would shout a few times, but no one would answer. Then, she would think of a way to open the door. Once she opened the door and saw the situation in the room, she would collapse. When she was on the phone, the person hiding would leave the room. Lang Qiuzuan nodded. I've checked it. There are traces of someone being here. Do you think there are still surveillance cameras here? Baya asked. After the president's men knew about this, they immediately went to the security surveillance room and took away all the tapes, including the computer and hard disk, Lang Qiuzuan said. Chapter 634. Are there any signs of the house being flipped? Baya asked Lang Qiuzuan. No. I'm sure about that. Isn't the murderer worried about the evidence? If he was worried about the evidence, he would have searched everywhere, right? Baya asked suspiciously. In this case, the murderer is confident that he has the evidence, or the evidence is what Minister Zhang wanted to say. Now that he's dead, no one knows about this secret, Lang Qiuzuan guessed. If that's the case, as Minister Zhang's lover, he should be in danger. Since he killed Minister Zhang, why didn't he kill Lady Zhang as well? Baya was surprised. She scanned the room again and had a bad feeling. Could it be that Minister Zhang wasn't killed to silence him, but because of a grudge? Lang Qiuzuan guessed. If there was a grudge, it would be too much of a coincidence to kill Minister Zhang when he was about to go to prison. Also, it's too much of a coincidence that Minister Zhang was so calm. Baya looked at Minister Zhang's body indifferently. Such a strange way of killing. Who is it for? A strange light flashed in Bai Ya's eyes. Not good. Get the Internet Management Department to monitor the Internet as much as possible. These photos may have been leaked from the scene. Lang Qiuzuan stood still. Are you ordering me? Bai Ya was stunned. She knew Lang Qiuzuan's arrogant personality very well. She walked towards the door. Lang Qiuzuan blocked her way. How do you know they will release the photos? What's in it for them? I don't know what's in it for the time being, but the murderer didn't make Minister Zheng look like he was deliberately trying to confuse us. It's too fake, and we can see it at a glance. But since he did it, he must have a purpose, and that purpose is to create a sensation. A strange death. Minister Zheng's identity is a point of attention. What's the purpose of attention? Is it a show of force to the police? Aren't there still contradictions? Lang Qiuzuan was strict. No matter what their true motives are, we must stop whatever they want in order to prevent things from getting worse. Bai Ya said solemnly. He walked out and said to Shani Yan, hurry up and find someone to monitor the internet. I'm worried they'll post it online. Nonsense. If they wanted to do that, they would have done it long ago. Why would they wait until now? Director Zhao refuted immediately. That's because we haven't arrived yet. If I'm not wrong, they have been observing us from nearby. When we arrive and they feel that the time is right, they will release the news and tell the media who is coming, Bai Ya explained. Guess? Do you rely on guessing when you do things? Women always think that their sixth intuition is very accurate. If their intuition is accurate, why do they need us policemen? Chief Zhao said bluntly. His cell phone rang. Bai Ya couldn't be bothered with him. It was too tiring to argue with him. He was obstinate and self-righteous. Hurry up and give the order. Otherwise, it'll be too late, Bai Ya said to Shen Yan. Shen Yan nodded. In some aspects, he still trusted Bai Ya. He believed in Bai Ya's wisdom. He saw Chief Zhao hang up the phone with a bad expression. He looked at Shen Yan and said, someone posted the photo online. It's very detailed. They even took a photo of us coming over. You idiot. Why didn't you believe what my wife said? Now it's great. Lin Shulan scolded. Shulan, don't be rude. Since things have come to this, scolding is useless, Bai Ya ordered. Lin Shulan immediately shut up. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ya with admiration. Bai Ya was really the person she admired the most. It was in the past, and it was still the same. Why didn't she have such a good brain? Lang Qiuzuan was also surprised. He was the second best judge. Not many people dared to challenge him. However, after working together with Bai Ya a few times, he felt inferior. What do you think we should do now? Shen Yan asked Bai Ya. There are no signs of the house being searched. Department head Zheng thinks he can sit back and relax. The other party isn't afraid of being exposed. From the way he killed, it seems to be a professional. It's different from ordinary people. There's a very powerful person behind him. He already has everything under control. He even predicted that we would come. We will investigate the case. According to our normal procedure, the next step is... Bai Ya looked at Lady Zheng. Madame Zheng had already stopped crying. She lowered her head, and her hand that was holding the napkin was trembling. Bai Ya's eyes narrowed, and a sharp glint flashed across her eyes. Control her. Zhang Xingyu and Lin Shulan rushed over and arrested Lady Zheng. How dare you? Who gave you the right to kidnap someone in front of our eyes? Bai Ya, don't go overboard, Zhuochuani shouted and stood up. Lady Zheng looked at Zhuochuani. Zhuochuani glanced at Lady Zheng. Say what you want to say. Cover her mouth. It's not the time for her to speak, Bai Ya ordered. Lin Shulan followed Bai Ya's lead. He immediately covered Lady Zheng's mouth. Bai Ya, you don't get along with Minister Zheng. Don't tell me you're trying to stop Lady Zheng from speaking because of the murder? Zhuochuani said angrily. It's not that I don't get along with Minister Zheng. I'm just punishing the evil and promoting the good. I've already obtained the facts of Minister Zheng's crimes. I've also submitted them to the police and the parliament. These crimes are enough for Minister Zheng to be sentenced to death. Why would I do something unnecessary and get myself involved in a lawsuit? Anyone can kill Minister Zheng. Even I can't. Zhuotong, what made you so irrational? Bai Ya asked calmly. It's not that I'm irrational. Why did you treat Lady Zheng like that in front of us? Even if her husband committed a crime, his family wouldn't be implicated. Moreover, her husband is dead now, Zhuchuani said sternly. I did that because someone installed a pinhole camera in our room. Zhuotong, do you really want the content of our conversation to be posted on the internet before it's verified and censored? That way, it'll become the public's baseless speculation. The truth will be revealed to the public once it's verified. But before it's verified, it'll only cause panic and unrest. Isn't that right? Zhuotong, Baya asked. Zhuchuani's face darkened. You're saying that there's a surveillance camera in our room? Director Zhao, investigate, Shen Yan ordered. Yes, Director Zhao instructed. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.